Chapter 3298. First Upper Region. Longao was very depressed. Waiting like this, he simply did not know when it would end. But other than waiting, he could not think of any other good way to deal with Evil Moon and the others. It was still the same. It was almost impossible to deal with Mo Wutian and the others. It was only possible to deal with them one by one. Brother Long, are we really going to keep waiting? How could Long Ao not know what Shuang was thinking? Brother Long, you should know that Evil Moon and the others will not split up after knowing about the evil ancestor. It will not be easy to deal with them one by one. Long Ao nodded. But other than waiting, there is nothing else we can do. Brother Long, why don't you look for the other 2 treasures first? Once you gather the 6 treasures, your cultivation will be able to return to the chaotic reincarnation realm. Others might not know, but Qin Shuang knew. If Brother Long recovered to the chaotic reincarnation realm, no one below the Tao confirming realm would be a match for him. Even if Evil Moon and Brother Long could not win, Evil Moon would not be able to defeat Long Ao. In Qin Shuang's opinion, the most important thing now was to find a way to gather the 6 treasures and break through to the chaotic reincarnation realm. That's right, but I have no clue about the reincarnation fruit and the underworld water. It will not be easy to lock onto the 2 treasures in the vast chaotic realm. How could he not want to look for the 2 treasures? But whether it was the reincarnation fruit or the underworld water, there was no news about them. He had no idea where to look for them. Brother Long, do you still remember the Reincarnation Valley? Reincarnation Valley? What do you mean? There is a high chance that the reincarnation fruit is in the Reincarnation Valley. Long Ao was not unfamiliar with the Reincarnation Valley. Back then, many people had entered the Reincarnation Valley. It was said that there were chaotic reincarnation treasures in the Reincarnation Valley. But in the end, they did not find anything. The Reincarnation Valley was also known as one of the forbidden places in the chaotic realm. But there was no reincarnation fruit in the Reincarnation Valley. On this point, not only did he know this, but Shuang also knew this. If that was the case, why would she say that? What was the reason? He could not figure it out. Qin Shuang seemed to be able to guess what Long Ao was thinking. She smiled and said, Brother Long Ao, since we don't have any clues, why don't we try our luck? Try my luck? Long Ao was a little amused, but since Shuang had already said so, Long Ao could only nod and agree. The 2 of them didn't continue to stay in the First Sky region. He left just like that. The 2 of them immediately set off for the Reincarnation Valley. The Reincarnation Valley was one of the forbidden grounds of the primal chaos world. It had a large amount of reincarnation airflow. If one's cultivation base did not break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, it would be hard to predict whether one would live or die. Not to mention ordinary martialists. Even chaotic life and death realm martialists would not dare to casually step into it. From this, one could imagine how terrifying the Reincarnation Valley was. The Reincarnation Valley was a valley that seemed to be sitting on top of the clouds. It was surrounded by black fog. From afar, the entire valley looked like a huge black fog. Brother Long, your cultivation base has yet to recover to the chaos reincarnation realm. Can you step into the Reincarnation Valley? How could Long Ao not know Shuang's meaning? The Reincarnation Valley itself was a place where reincarnation was gathered. Only chaotic life and death realm martialists could easily step in without being attacked by the Reincarnation Valley. Once others stepped in, even chaotic life and death realm martialists, they would be attacked by the Reincarnation Valley and might even be obliterated. Currently, he was only in the chaotic life and death realm and had yet to break through to the chaos reincarnation realm. Under normal circumstances, once he stepped into the Reincarnation Valley, he would definitely die. However, Long Ao wasn't worried at all. He smiled and said, Shuang, don't worry. Although my cultivation base has yet to recover to the chaos reincarnation realm, I'm not afraid of the reincarnation airflow attack in the Reincarnation Valley. Let's go. Just as Long Ao was about to send Shuang into his chaotic dantian. Brother Long, I want to go in with you. Of course, Long Ao knew what Shuang meant. Although he had personally agreed, she probably still didn't believe him. If he entered the Reincarnation Valley and encountered any problems, it would be good to have Shuang Shuang by his side to take care of him. Longao didn't say much. He nodded and held Shuang Shuang's hand as they walked into the Reincarnation Valley. In the blink of an eye, the two had disappeared into the valley. The entire Reincarnation Valley was filled with black fog. It wasn't the first time the two had entered the Reincarnation Valley, so they were familiar with it. Even so, the two didn't dare to be careless. Ever since they stepped into the Reincarnation Valley, the two had been extremely careful and alert. When they first entered the Reincarnation Valley, they stayed for a few years without finding any treasures. Because of this, the two didn't intend to try their luck. They only wanted to try their luck and see if they could find the legendary reincarnation fruit. Luck, in the end, was still a matter of luck. Longao didn't say much, but he didn't have any confidence in his heart. Back then, he spent so much time and still couldn't find the so-called reincarnation fruit, let alone now. However, he still followed Shuang Shuang's request. Since he was here this time, he would try his luck. Ao come in first? Hearing their master's call, Longao and Qin Shuang Shuang's figures disappeared and returned to the chaotic Dantian. Master, what's the matter? Longao was very curious. He didn't know why his master had called for him at this time. As for the real reason why he wasn't worried about entering the Reincarnation Valley, it was because of his chaotic Dantian. Even if the Reincarnation Shi in the Reincarnation Valley attacked him, he could instantly step into the chaotic Dantian. Fortunately, after Longao stepped into the Reincarnation Valley, he wasn't attacked by the Reincarnation Shi. Even Longao himself was very curious and didn't know what was going on. Xinyuan Bubi looked at the evil ancestor beside him and said with a smile, "The evil ancestor has something good for you." Hearing his master's words, Longao looked at the evil ancestor and became even more curious. He didn't know what the evil ancestor was going to give him. However, the evil ancestor was a Tao-proving warrior after all. If his master and the evil ancestor saw it as a treasure, it definitely wouldn't be something ordinary. Evil ancestor, I wonder what you're going to give me. Even Longao was a little excited. He wanted to see what the evil ancestor was going to give him. Qin Shuang Shuang didn't say anything, but her eyes were shining. Because even Shuang Shuang knew that the evil ancestor would take out something good this time. Chapter 3299. The evil ancestor smiled helplessly. Young master. He waved his hand. Before the evil ancestor could finish, Longao said, "Evil ancestor, I've said it before. You don't have to call me young master or master. Just call me by my name." The evil ancestor seemed to want to say something, but Xinyuan Bubi said, "Evil ancestor, just do as Ao said." The evil ancestor was helpless, but since things had come to this, he could only agree. Longao, you should know that your master and I are Tao validation warriors. Longao nodded and did not say anything. But what did the evil ancestor mean? And at our cultivation level, ordinary treasures are nothing in our eyes. Longao still did not say anything. Qin Shuang Shuang also did not say anything. Longao, have you heard of the legendary god Slaying Fingers? God Slaying Finger? Hearing the three words God Slaying Finger, Longao was truly shocked because he was not unfamiliar with the God Slaying Finger at all, because the God Slaying Finger was a supreme technique in the legends. Evil ancestor, with my current strength, I can't cultivate a Tao validation cultivation technique. The God Slaying Finger was a Tao validation cultivation technique, and only Tao validation warriors could cultivate it. Warriors below the Tao validation realm could not cultivate it at all. Everyone in the Chaos realm knew about this. The evil ancestor smiled and said, Longao, you definitely can't cultivate ordinary Tao validation cultivation techniques, but you can cultivate my God Slaying Finger. Not only can you cultivate it, but you can also upgrade it. Ah? What did that mean? Hearing the evil ancestor's words, Longao was completely stunned. He did not know what the evil ancestor meant. Could it be? As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, the evil ancestor continued, my God Slaying Finger, after you cultivate it, will not be a Tao validation cultivation technique. When your cultivation level breaks through the Chaos reincarnation realm, the power of the God Slaying Finger will also break through to a Tao validation cultivation technique. Although he had guessed it, Longao was still shocked after hearing it. Such a cultivation technique was truly heaven-defying. Xinyuan Bubi said with a smile, Ao, the evil ancestor, and I have already thought about it. After you have proven your Tao, we will teach you everything we know. But before that, you can cultivate the god-slaying finger. Thank you, Master. Longao was not a fool. How could he not understand the meaning behind his master and evil ancestor's words? Evil Moon? The evil ancestor had personally fought Evil Moon before, so he naturally knew how powerful Evil Moon was. Although he could rely on his own strength to contend against Mo Wutian and the others, he was still unable to fight against Evil Moon. Could it be that he could fight against Evil Moon with the help of the god-killing finger? Evil Ancestor and Xinyuan Bubi looked at each other and smiled. Xinyuan Bubi smiled and said, Ao, the evil ancestor's god-slaying finger is one of the top martial skills among all the Tao-proving cultivation techniques. You can definitely comprehend it and fight against Evil Moon. As for Mo Wutian and the others, you can definitely kill them. Longao was shocked. He had already guessed the power of the god-killing finger, but he still found that he had underestimated it. The evil ancestor said, Longao, although the god-killing finger can help you fight against Evil Moon, it is still very difficult to comprehend it. Back then, I spent tens of billions of years to comprehend the god-killing finger. From then on, I could defeat all the martial artists below the Tao-proving realm. Those who could successfully validate their Tao, which one of them was not a genius. Even the evil ancestor needed to comprehend for tens of billions of years before he could successfully comprehend the god-slaying finger. Longao found it hard to imagine how difficult it was to comprehend the god-slaying finger. Even a genius like the evil ancestor needed hundreds of years to comprehend it. How long would it take for him to comprehend it? It was unimaginable, but it was also his luck to have such a heaven-defying martial skill. In the following time, the evil ancestor imparted the god-killing finger to Longao. He originally wanted to try his luck in the Reincarnation Valley to see if he could find the reincarnation fruit. But now, comprehending the god-killing finger was definitely more important. No matter what, whether he could find the reincarnation fruit was still unknown. But the god-killing finger was something he possessed. The two could not be compared. But Qin Shuang left the chaotic Dantian and returned to the Reincarnation Valley alone to search for the reincarnation fruit. If it was any other place, Longao would definitely not agree. But now he did not stop her. After all, the Reincarnation Valley was not dangerous for a chaotic reincarnation realm martial artist. Just like that, the two of them went their separate ways. Qin Shuang returned to the Reincarnation Valley to search for the reincarnation fruit, while Longao stayed in the chaotic Dantian to comprehend the god-killing finger. Under such circumstances, the god-killing finger was too important for him. To him, Evil Moon was the most troublesome person. Mo Wutian and the others were nothing in his eyes. So, as long as he could deal with Evil Moon, it would be like adding wings to a tiger for him. The most important thing now was to comprehend the god-killing finger as soon as possible. The evil ancestor had said it himself. Back then, when he was in the chaotic reincarnation realm, he had spent tens of billions of years to comprehend the god-killing finger. Even if Longao was talented, it would take him a long time to comprehend the god-killing finger. But the result? In just one day, Longao had successfully comprehended the god-killing finger. It could be said that he had truly reached the entry level. Xinyuan Bubi and the evil ancestor looked ahead. Longao had already comprehended the god-killing finger. Although he had not reached the great completion level, he had already reached the entry level. The two of them looked as though they had seen a ghost. Xinyuan, you have taken in a good disciple. What I have not been able to do for hundreds of years, Longao only took a day. Comparisons are odious. The evil ancestor was shocked. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have believed that Longao had managed to comprehend the god-killing finger in just one day. Tens of billions of years in one day. Thinking back to how he had spent tens of billions of years to comprehend the god-killing finger, the evil ancestor felt bitter. It seemed like Long Ao's talent was enough to look down on the entire chaotic world. Ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Xinyuan Bubi was unable to contain himself and started to laugh crazily. To be able to comprehend the god-killing finger in merely a single day, such talent was truly unheard of and unseen. The evil ancestor shook his head helplessly. It would be a lie to say that he was not envious. Not only was he envious of Xinyuan Bubi for having such a good disciple, but he was also envious of Long Ao's talent. Xinyuan, I heard that Long Ao had even created a cultivation technique. He had only cultivated it to the 7th revolution, and he had already broken through the chaotic reincarnation realm. What about the 8th revolution, or even the 9th revolution? It was hard to imagine how heaven-defying this cultivation technique of Long Ao's would be. Chapter 3300. He shrugged helplessly. Xinyuan Bubi sighed with emotion toward this disciple of his. The 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra was an incomparably heaven-defying cultivation method even for Tao validation martial artists. To be able to create such a cultivation method, it was easy to imagine how amazing this disciple of his was. He was very proud. The Reincarnation Valley was huge. Even Qin Shuang Shuang couldn't travel to every corner of it in a short period of time. And because of the restrictions of the Forbidden Land, even if Qin Shuang Shuang was a primal chaos samsara warrior, it was very difficult for her to release her essence spirit to cover a further area. It was already pretty good that his essence soul could cover a few hundred meters. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it. Given the strength of a primal chaos samsara martial artist, it was simply too easy to cover the entire Reincarnation Valley and find what they wanted. I have to find it. I have to find it. Qin Shuang Shuang was very nervous because she knew very well what the reincarnation fruit meant to Brother Long. As long as Long Ao could obtain these 6 treasures, he would be able to successfully break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Right at this moment, whoosh, 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 several silhouettes rushed over quickly. Before they arrived, their frenzied attacks had already arrived. Qin Shuang Shuang was shocked. She did not know what was going on. Why would she be surrounded by so many people in the Reincarnation Valley? He and Long Ao had come here in secret, and no one in the entire primal chaos realm knew about it. Evil Moon. The people who had just appeared were none other than Evil Moon, Gu Hao, Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, Divine Mathematician, and Zhuin Divine Beast. A total of 6 primal chaos reincarnation warriors. Qin Shuang Shuang's face instantly turned gloomy. She couldn't contact Brother Long at all. Similarly, she couldn't enter the chaotic Dantian. After all, before this, no matter what, the two of them wouldn't believe it. Ha ha, Qin Shuang Shuang, I think you'd better surrender, lest we accidentally hurt you. Evil Moon and the others were pleasantly surprised. They did not expect that Qin Shuang Shuang was really here. It turned out that, after Long Ao and Qin Shuang Shuang left, they were already discovered by Gu Hao, so Gu Hao and the others followed behind them, all the way to the samsara fruit. Although they did not know what the two of them were going to do in the Reincarnation Valley, how could Evil Moon and the others give up such an opportunity so easily? It was better that Long Ao was not around. Of course, they knew the relationship between Long Ao and Qin Shuang Shuang. Since then, as long as they could capture Qin Shuang Shuang, there was no doubt that they could deal with Long Ao. At that time, what they wanted to do was up to them. As for Long Ao, he was meat on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. In the eyes of Evil Moon and the others, the current Qin Shuang Shuang was simply unable to withstand their siege. With just you two. Hearing Qin Shuang Shuang's words, everyone laughed instead of getting angry. Gu Hao laughed and said, Qin Shuang Shuang, not to mention you alone, even if Long Ao was here, he would still not be able to save you. However, I really hope that Long Ao is here. It had just appeared. Evil Moon and the others joined hands and directly released their primordial spirit to envelop them. If they said that they were not afraid, then they would definitely be lying. After all, even they had no way of locking onto the primal chaos palace in Long Ao's hands. As for whether Gu Hao's method was feasible or not, no one knew. Of course, Qin Shuangshuang knew what it meant once he was trapped. At that time, Big Brother Long would be in big trouble. Thinking of this, Qin Shuangshuang turned around and left. It would be best if he could contact Big Brother Long. Once he entered the primal chaos Dantian, even if Evil Moon and the others joined hands, they would not be able to do anything to him. Qin Shuangshuang had complete confidence in the primal chaos Dantian that Longao possessed. However, with how big the Reincarnation Valley was, it was easier said than done to contact Big Brother Long Evil Moon, and the others only sneered. In the next second, Qin Shuangshuang was surrounded by Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, and the Divine Mathematician. Amongst the five of them, it seemed that Gu Hao and Evil Moon were slowly becoming the leaders. Even if Mo Wutian and the others felt uncomfortable and unwilling, under these circumstances, they did not dare to say anything. No matter what, Evil Moon and Gu Hao's strength was placed there. Even if the four of them joined hands, they would still not be a match for Gu Hao and Evil Moon. Attack! What are you waiting for? In order to prevent any changes, Evil Moon and Gu Hao were naturally unwilling to wait any longer. The two of them had already finished dividing the spoils, and the Tao-confirming seed and primordial spirit were all distributed by the two of them. As for the other things, the two of them did not care at all. It was precisely because of this that the two of them wished that they could immediately stop Qin Shuangshuang. If that was the case, all they had to do was wait for Longao. Even if Longao recovered his primal chaos reincarnation realm, they would not be worried in the slightest. Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, and the Divine Mathematician all had their own ulterior motives, and all of them felt very uncomfortable. It's one thing to listen to orders, but if you eat meat, at the very least, you have to let us drink soup. But in the end, they couldn't even drink a single mouthful of soup. If not for the other party's powerful strength, it was unknown whether the three of them would be obedient. Before coming, Mo Wutian had already made his preparations. In any case, Nangong Yin and the Divine Mathematician did not have any worries, so even if they left and provoked Evil Moon and Gu Hao, it was nothing. After all, he had the Devil Palace, so it would be a lie to say that he did not feel the slightest bit of heartache. However, the opportunity to prove one's Tao was not something that the Devil Palace could compare to. As long as there was a trace of a chance, he would not choose to give up. It was precisely because of this that before coming, Mo Wutian had already decided that as long as he could control Longao, he would not care about Evil Moon and Gu Hao. He would leave after getting what he wanted, and when the time came, he would hide himself. Even if Evil Moon and Gu Hao's strength were heaven-defying, it would not be easy for them to find him in the vast sea of people. Not only Mo Wutian, but even Nangong Yin and the Divine Mathematician had the same idea. As a primal chaos reincarnation cultivator, what they valued the most were things related to the Tao-proving seed. For example, the Tao-proving seed or the primordial spirit. As long as they could obtain one, they would have a very high chance of proving one's Tao. The three of them each had their own ulterior motives, and they all coldly looked at Qin Shuangshuang. In truth, the three of them all knew that no matter who subdued Qin Shuangshuang, they would have a chance to control Longao. At that time, they would have a chance to obtain the Tao-proving seed or the primordial spirit that would not be defeated. The three of them all wanted to attack, but they did not immediately do so. The reason was very simple. The three of them all wanted to control Qin Shuangshuang, but they were also afraid that the other party would suddenly kill them. Especially in this kind of situation, facing the Tao-proving seed and the primordial spirit, it would be a lie to say that they were not afraid. Just as the three of them were about to attack at the same time, Qin Shuangshuang was about to counterattack. An angry roar rang out, and then an incomparably domineering power descended from the sky, spreading out in all directions. Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, the Divine Mathematician, and the Divine Beast Zhuin, the four primal chaos reincarnation cultivators all retreated, their faces filled with shock and disbelief. Chapter 3301. Longao. Everyone was startled when they saw the figure that suddenly appeared. There seemed to be something wrong with Longao. However, upon sensing the aura released from Longao's body, Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the other party was still at the chaotic samsara realm and had not truly broken through to the chaotic samsara realm. Although it was only half a step, the difference was like heaven and earth. Courting death. Evil Moon and Gu Hao did not say anything. He wanted Mo Wutian and the other two to test Longao and see what was wrong with Longao. The three men and one beast did not put Longao in their eyes at all. If he was alone, perhaps Longao would be able to contend against them. However, if he wanted to fight against the four of them, even Longao, who had recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, wouldn't be their match, let alone the current Longao. Shuang Shuang, let's go. Of course, Qin Shuang Shuang knew that with his strength, even if he stayed, it would be useless. He might even implicate Brother Long instantly. Qin Shuang Shuang's figure disappeared without a trace. Evil Moon and others did not care whether Qin Shuang Shuang left or not, so they did not stop her. Instead, all their attention was on Longao. As long as he could kill Longao and obtain Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit and Tao-proving seed, that would be enough. If it had been Longao in the past, he would have had to use the Chaos Divine Beast diagram and the help of the 9 Chaos Divine Beasts if he wanted to fight a Chaos Reincarnation martial artist. However, the situation was different now. Now that he thought about it, he felt a lingering fear. Luckily, he had comprehended the god-slaying finger in time and was worried about Shuang Shuang's safety. That was why he had come out to take a look. The more he thought about it, the more scared he became. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. In his endless rage, Longao didn't hold back at all. With the god-slaying finger, the surrounding space seemed to have started to collapse. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Space collapse? What kind of divine ability was this? Everyone's expression finally changed. Evil Moon's face was very gloomy and ugly. He said coldly, "The Doctrine Martial Technique." I didn't expect Longao to have cultivated the Doctrine Martial Technique. Gu Hao nodded in agreement. Moreover, the two of them knew that the Tao verification martial skill that Longao had cultivated was a top-notch existence among all Tao verification martial skills. Because if one looked at the entire primal chaos realm, one would know how heaven-defying this Tao-proving martial skill was to be able to cause space to collapse. Gu Hao was very curious. He was very clear about Xianyuan Bubi's doctrine martial skills. There didn't seem to be such a heaven-defying doctrine martial skill. What was going on? Of course, Gu Hao would not reveal the curiosity in his heart. He and Evil Moon were only temporarily working together, and once the Tao-confirming seed and primordial spirit appeared, it would be unknown whether they were enemies or friends. Evil Moon's heart was filled with greed. If he could obtain such a Tao-proving martial skill, then even if he did not prove his Tao, he would still be able to move unhindered in the Chaos Realm. However, if he wanted to get what he wanted, he had to kill Longao first. The power of the god's slaying finger was quite terrifying, and Longao had just comprehended it, so it could only be considered a beginner. If he could master it, even if his cultivation did not break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, he would still be able to contend against a super expert like Evil Moon. However, according to the evil ancestor, even now, even though he had just learned the basics of the god-slaying finger, once he had the chance, he could still successfully kill a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist. However, even if Longao relied on the god-slaying finger, it would still be very difficult for him to defend against 4 primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artists at the same time. Furthermore, Evil Moon and Gu Hao were eyeing him covetously and could attack at any time. Although he was incomparably furious in his heart, under such circumstances, it was better to be careful. As long as he could successfully find the reincarnation fruit and the netherworld water, then when he gathered the 6 treasures, his cultivation would be able to successfully break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. At that time, even if it was 1 against 4, he would still be able to kill 4 people. This was confidence that was strong enough. Longao pointed his finger, and just as everyone was unwilling to meet force with force and space collapsed, Longao's figure had already disappeared. How do you feel? Mo Wutian and the others naturally knew what Shiyue meant by that. Mo Wutian thought for a moment, then said, Senior, the martial skill that Longao is using is extremely powerful. In a one-on-one situation, I am not his match. Although he was unwilling to believe it, the truth was right in front of him, and he had no choice but to believe it. He was very shocked. What kind of martial skill did Longao use just now? Such a martial skill was a little too heaven-defying. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Not to mention Mo Wutian. Even Nangong and the godly mathematician were shocked. Such a heaven-defying martial skill was truly unprecedented. Since things had turned out this way, Evil Moon didn't hide anything. He said, the martial skill Longao used just now is a martial skill of Dao verification. A martial skill of Dao verification. Of course you can't resist. The words martial skill of Dao verification completely shocked the three of them. Of course, they knew what a martial skill of Dao verification meant. However, after thinking about it, they understood. Longao had Xinyuan Bu Bai, a martial skill of Dao verification, in his body. Senior, can we cultivate a martial skill of Dao verification? Evil Moon obviously knew what he meant. He shook his head and said, without Dao verification, it is impossible to cultivate a martial skill of Dao verification. However, according to my observation, the martial skill Longao cultivated is very powerful. Even among the martial skill of Dao verification seeds, it is a top existence. It's just that Evil Moon didn't know why Longao could cultivate a martial skill of Dao verification. He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. Therefore, he didn't continue speaking. Mo Wutian and the other two seemed to have guessed Evil Moon's meaning and didn't continue to ask. However, their hearts were filled with greed. If the three of them could obtain such a martial skill of Dao verification, the more they thought about it, the more greedy they became. They couldn't wait to obtain it. The godly mathematician Yibu thought for a while and said, Longao has cultivated a martial skill of Dao verification. No matter how he cultivated it, he is already strong enough to contend against any two of us. When Longao's cultivation breaks through the chaotic reincarnation realm, it is hard to imagine how terrifying his strength will be. Back then, Longao didn't cultivate a martial skill of Dao verification, but he was already known as the strongest existence under the Dao verification. Although he hadn't fought with an existence like Evil Moon, to be known as the strongest person under the Dao verification, one could imagine how heaven-defying Longao's strength was. Moreover, Longao had cultivated a martial skill of Dao verification. Moreover, it was such a heaven-defying martial skill of Dao verification. Once his cultivation recovered to the chaotic reincarnation realm, not to mention ordinary chaotic reincarnation realm experts, even Evil Moon might not be a match for Longao. Chapter 3302. Inside the Chaotic Dantian. Longao was very angry, but even though he was angry, there was nothing he could do. Even if he had comprehended the god-slaying finger, he still wouldn't be a match for several primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artists. He could feel the anger in Brother Long's heart. Qin Shuang smiled and said, revenge is a dish best served cold. That may be so, but, Brother Long, the most important thing now is to find a way to find the reincarnation fruit. When your cultivation level returns to the chaotic reincarnation realm, they can't do anything even if they join forces. Longao held Shuang's hand gently and smiled. However, it was unknown whether the reincarnation fruit existed in the reincarnation valley. This was what Longao felt the most helpless about. Out of the 6 treasures, only the nether water and the reincarnation fruit had not been obtained. He still had no clue. Brother Long, what should we do now? Wait. With Evil Moon and the rest outside, he and Shuang could not go out to find the reincarnation fruit. However, Longao had things to do. He continued to comprehend the god-slaying finger. He had just witnessed the power of the god-slaying finger. Even if he faced 4 chaotic reincarnation realm martial artists at the same time, he could still escape unscathed. One could imagine how terrifying the power of the god-slaying finger was. Even Longao did not expect that he could successfully comprehend the god-slaying finger in a day. After all, according to the evil ancestor had taken tens of billions of years to comprehend the god-slaying finger. What did that mean? 1 year and tens of billions of years were two different concepts. However, Longao knew that the god-slaying finger that he had comprehended was not enough to fight against 4 martial artists at the same time. He could barely even fight against 2 martial artists at the same time. Longao also imparted the god-slaying finger to Qin Shuang. If it had been someone else, the evil ancestor would not have agreed. However, given the relationship between Qin Shuang and Longao, the evil ancestor did not say much. Longao could successfully comprehend the god-slaying finger in a day. Qin Shuang could not. Not only could she not, but she also had no clue. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. Qin Shuang did not have any confidence in the god-slaying finger that she had mastered. She did not know that it was impossible to comprehend it. Not everyone was like Brother Ruelong, who managed to comprehend the god-slaying finger in just 1 day. However, Qin Shuang did not choose to give up. She knew very well what the god-slaying finger meant. The god-slaying finger was a top-notch Dao verification martial skill, even when placed among all Dao verification martial skills. Time passed quickly. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. For the past 3 years, Evil Moon did not say anything, but a trace of impatience appeared on his face. Otherwise, he would not be able to lock onto Longao's primal chaos hall, so he did not need to wait for Gu Hao's pretentious act. Gu Hao seemed to have already noticed that everyone's faces were filled with impatience. He forced a smile and said, "My method is very simple." After saying that, Gu Hao took out a golden needle from his bosom and said, "Senior Evil Moon, the universe space you possess can completely trap Longao. As for my golden needle, it can break through the other party's primal chaos hall." Gu Hao seemed to be very confident in his own golden needle. On the other hand, Evil Moon and the others looked at Gu Hao curiously, not knowing what the golden needle that the other party had suddenly taken out was. "Brother Gu, I wonder what kind of treasure this golden needle of yours is?" Evil Moon and the others did not seem to believe it. After all, it was a little unrealistic for a small golden needle to be able to break through the legendary Primal Chaos Hall. However, everyone was very clear that without full confidence, Gu Hao would not casually take out this golden needle. Everyone, I don't know if you've heard of it, but within the Primal Chaos realm, there is a Primal Chaos Divine Tool, the Primal Chaos Golden Needle. Mo Wutian and the others were confused. They did not know what kind of treasure this golden needle was. On the other hand, Evil Moon seemed to have thought of something and nodded in shock, saying, "Gu Hao's luck is really good to actually be able to obtain this treasure. With the Primal Chaos Golden Needle, we can indeed break through the Primal Chaos Hall." Chapter 3303. Brother Gu, just what kind of treasure is the Chaos Gold Needle? Evil Moon knew, but the others did not. However, Gu Hao smiled and said, "This Chaos Gold Needle belongs to Xinyuan Bubi. Not to mention us. Even if Xinyuan Bubi were to face a martial artist who had verified his Dao back then, it would still be a supreme treasure that could kill him." Hearing this, Mo Wutian and the others were shocked. Of course, they knew about the relationship between Xinyuan Bubi and Gu Hao. "Senior Evil Moon, let's begin." Nodding his head, Evil Moon seemed to be in a hurry as well. Immediately, he released his own heaven and earth space. In the next second, the surrounding space started to vibrate intensely. Huff huff, huff huff, huff huff. The heaven and earth space itself was an extremely heaven-defying chaos divine weapon. Sensing the power of the outside world, Longao's face changed as he looked at his master, Xinyuan Bubi, and asked, "Master, you have a Chaos Gold Needle?" As though he had guessed something, Xinyuan Bubi's face darkened. "That's right. Back then, I accidentally obtained this treasure and taught it to Gu Hao." The more Xinyuan Bubi thought about it, the angrier he got. Back then, he had imparted the Chaos Gold Needle to this traitor. Aoer. Seems like Gu Hao wants to use the Chaos Gold Needle to deal with you. That's right. Of course, Longao knew what Gu Hao and Evil Moon wanted to do. One had the heaven and earth space while the other had the Chaos Gold Needle. Once the two of them joined forces, one would know what it meant. Longao did not dare to say for sure if his Chaos Dantian would be able to withstand the two of them joining forces. One could never be too careful. If his Chaos Dantian could not withstand it, not to mention himself, just his master, Shuang, and the others would be in trouble. Master, how should we deal with this? The Chaos Gold Needle was his master's treasure. Longao knew that no one knew the Chaos Gold Needle better than his master, including Gu Hao. Xinyuan Bubi's face was terrible. Thinking about it, he said, Aoer, the Chaos Gold Needle's power is terrifying. Especially for space divine weapons, it's like a nemesis. Nemesis. Longao naturally knew what his master meant. Master, my Dantian has already fused with the Chaos Palace. Chaos Gold Needle can break it? Longao didn't have the slightest confidence in this. Aoer. Primal Chaos Gold Needle. At this point, Xinyuan Bubi did not continue. Master, what is it? The more his master acted like this, the more uncertain Longao felt. He had already thought it through. If there was really no other way, he would avoid it first. As the saying goes, a wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. If his chaotic Dantian was really broken by the primal Chaos Golden Needle, he would not even have the chance to regret it. The evil ancestor was also very surprised. He didn't know what Xinyuan Bubi meant. Why did he suddenly stop talking? Was there really no way to subdue the primal Chaos Golden Needle? Xinyuan Bubi seemed to have thought of something. He casually said, Aoer, I have a way to subdue the primal Chaos Golden Needle. However, it is slightly dangerous. Danger? Longao smiled and said, Master, tell me, what is the method? No matter what method it was, Longao would not hesitate in the slightest. Furthermore, there would be no opportunities without danger. If he could really obtain the primal Chaos Golden Needle, then it would be a good thing for him. The current Reincarnation Valley was already enveloped by the universe space and was covered with a strange air current. If it was just the Chaos Palace, with the power of the universe space, it would be really easy to lock onto it. However, the current situation was very different. Longao's Dantian had already fused with the primal Chaos Palace. If Evil Moon wanted to use the universe space to lock onto Longao's position, it would not be an easy task. At this moment, Evil Moon's face immediately lit up. He said in surprise, It's locked onto. If it wasn't for Longao purposely revealing a flaw, Evil Moon wouldn't have been able to successfully lock onto the other party's position in such a short period of time. It was completely nonsense. Under such circumstances, Gu Hao naturally wouldn't hold back in the slightest. He immediately used the primal Chaos Golden Needle and fiercely pierced towards the so-called specific position. At this moment, Longao's figure appeared, not dodging or dodging. It was just as Xinyuan Bubi was worried. If Longao made the slightest mistake, forget about obtaining the primal Chaos Golden Needle. It was unknown whether he would be able to survive. However, Longao insisted on doing so. This was because he knew very well that under such circumstances, he had to subdue the primal Chaos Golden Needle. Otherwise, once his primal Chaos Dantian was broken by the primal Chaos Golden Needle, the consequences would be unimaginable. The speed of the primal Chaos Golden Needle was simply too fast. Just as the primal Chaos Golden Needle was infinitely close to Longao, it had already disappeared without a trace in the next second. Inside the primal Chaos Dantian, as soon as the primal Chaos Golden Needle entered, it began to madly attack the surrounding primal Chaos Dantian. Xinyuan Bubi said impatiently, Aoer, hurry up and subdue the primal Chaos Golden Needle. Otherwise, it's very likely that the primal Chaos Golden Needle will break through your primal Chaos Dantian. How could Longao not know about his master's worries? Of course, he didn't dare to hesitate in the slightest. He immediately circulated the chi within his primal Chaos Dantian and began to form a vortex. According to his master's method, if he wanted to subdue the primal chaos golden needle, he had to use the vortex to dissolve the primal chaos golden needle's attack power. Only then would he be able to subdue the primal chaos golden needle. Longao didn't have much of an idea about the primal chaos golden needle before, but now that he had personally witnessed its power, he was extremely shocked. As expected of the primal chaos golden needle that could kill a martial artist, it was truly terrifying. Just the vortex alone would definitely not be able to subdue the primal chaos golden needle. However, with the help of the evil ancestor and Xinyuan Bubi, the speed of the vortex's rotation became more and more terrifying, and the primal chaos golden needle's attack power also began to slowly weaken. Seeing this situation, Longao was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. He didn't dare to hesitate in the slightest. Success or failure depended on this. If he could subdue the primal chaos golden needle, not only would he possess a heaven-defying divine tool, he would also be able to reduce a dangerous threat to himself. Boom! With the help of the two great martial artists, as well as Qin Shuang and Longao's attacks, the huge vortex finally stopped attacking. Master, what should I do next? I'll help you. Outside the primal chaos Dantian, the originally confident Gu Hao's expression suddenly changed because he realized that he had already lost his connection with the primal chaos golden needle. What was going on? It was simply inconceivable, but even if he was beaten to death, Gu Hao wouldn't believe that the other party could subdue his primal chaos golden needle. What was going on? Brother Gu, what's wrong? When Evil Moon and the others saw Gu Hao's expression, they also had a bad premonition. Chapter 3304. As time passed, Gu Hao's face became more and more gloomy. It was very ugly. Until now, Gu Hao still did not know what had happened. Something's not right. Something's not right? Just when everyone did not know what Gu Hao meant by his words, the situation suddenly changed. Evil Moon's face also became extremely gloomy as he said in a deep voice, "My universe space has also lost the location of the other party's primal chaos palace." Ah! Hearing Evil Moon's words, not only Mo Wutian and the others, even Gu Hao's face completely changed. It was not easy for him to snatch the primal chaos gold needle from Xinyuan Bubi. If anything happened, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Senior Evil Moon, what should we do now? Although Mo Wutian and the other two were very unhappy, since things had reached this point, they did not want Longao to leave just like that. It would be best if they could kill Longao. Facing Longao, it would be a lie to say that they were not afraid. Evil Moon and Gu Hao's faces were very ugly. Longao. Looking at Longao, who suddenly appeared in front of him, Evil Moon did not hesitate at all and immediately released his aura, covering the surrounding space. Not caring at all, Longao smiled and said, "Evil Moon, do you think that your universe space can lock onto me?" The more confident Longao was, the more uncertain Evil Moon was. If it was before, even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe it. He knew very well how terrifying his universe space was. Under the Tao confirmation, almost no one could contend against his universe space. But now, it was hard to believe that Longao had left the universe space-time and time again. Especially just now, Longao had suddenly disappeared and appeared again. If not for his complete confidence, Longao would not have casually appeared. Longao, my primal chaos gold needle. Gu Hao naturally did not wish to see anything happen to his primal chaos gold needle. Longao only sneered. A golden needle appeared in his hand. It was the primal chaos gold needle. It was as if he had seen a ghost. You. After saying the word "you" 3 times in a row, Gu Hao's face was filled with disbelief. However, he seemed to have thought of something and roared with an extremely angry voice. "It must be the old bastard who helped you. Otherwise, you alone?" He waved his hand. Longao did not want to continue listening to Gu Hao's nonsense and sneered, "Gu Hao, in the future, I will definitely find you personally and clean up the sect." Longao was very clear that even if he had the primal chaos gold needle and comprehended the god's slaying finger, it was still a little unrealistic for him to kill Gu Hao, unless his cultivation base could return to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. He had already collected all 4 types of treasures and was only left with 2. Ha! Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! Hearing Longao's words, Gu Hao laughed crazily. His laughter was filled with endless ridicule and contempt, as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. Gu Hao stared fixedly at Longao, who was in front of him, and said coldly, "Longao, do you think that you can contend against me just by relying on this old thing to subdue the primal chaos gold needles?" Hearing this, Longao's heart skipped a beat. He did not dare to be careless in the slightest. He had already made preparations. If anything happened, he would immediately return to the primal chaos Dantian. Even Gu Hao and Evil Moon would not be able to do anything to him. If it was in the past, Longao would definitely not dare to do this, because he was not sure if Evil Moon's universe space could lock onto his own primal chaos Dantian. But now, the situation was different. Longao was completely confident that even if he returned to the primal chaos Dantian in front of Evil Moon would not be able to use the universe space to lock onto him. This was the power of the primal chaos Dantian. It could be said like this. Other than not knowing if a Dao confirming martial artist could lock onto his own primal chaos Dantian, it was very difficult for anyone below the Dao confirming realm to be able to lock onto it. However, there were still many unknown primal chaos divine tools. Brother Gu, do you have a way? Not to mention Longao, even Evil Moon and the others had curious looks on their faces. They did not know if Gu Hao had a way to deal with Longao. Right now, even the universe space was unable to lock onto Longao, and even Gu Hao's primal chaos golden needle had been subdued by the other party. The more it was like this, the more they feared Longao. After all, according to Longao's situation, if this continued, who knew what would happen? Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots, forever eliminating future troubles. Ignoring Evil Moon and the others, the current Gu Hao could not help but feel heartache when he thought about the primal chaos golden needle that he had lost. However, things had already come to this, so no matter how much his heart ached, there was nothing he could do. He could only think of a way to get rid of Longao first. As long as he could obtain Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit and Dao confirming seed, then not to mention losing the primal chaos golden needle, he would not hesitate to lose something more important than the primal chaos golden needle. In front of the Dao confirming seed and primordial spirit, everything was like floating clouds. Longao, even if you have the help of that old fellow, I can still completely kill you. Evil Moon, Gu Hao, and the others already knew that Longao actually had the primordial spirits of 2 Dao confirming warriors in his body. In other words, Longao had 2 Dao confirming seeds. It was precisely because of this that Evil Moon and Gu Hao had already discussed it. Once they killed Longao, the 2 of them would each obtain a Dao confirming seed and devour the primordial spirit. With the combination of the 2, their chances of reaching the Dao confirming realm would be extremely high. It was still the same sentence. The 2 of them had already distributed the Dao confirming seed and primordial spirit, and there was still nothing to do with Mo Wutian and the others. Mo Wutian and the other 2 did not say anything, but they were already extremely close to being beaten up. 2 Dao confirming seeds and 2 primordial spirits. How could they not be angry? It was just that they had not killed Longao yet. If they were to fall out with him at this time, it would not benefit them at all. Furthermore, Gu Hao and Evil Moon's strength was right there. Longao, have you heard of half-step Dao confirming? Half-step Dao confirming? Besides Longao, even Mo Wutian and the others were familiar with the so-called half-step Dao verification. This was because a half-step Dao verification was a person who had already begun to verify their Dao, but had yet to truly succeed. This kind of martialist was known as a half-step into the Dao verification realm. Although they were not a match for other Dao verification martialists, their strength was far above ordinary chaotic martial artists. If Gu Hao said so, could it be that Gu Hao was a half-step Dao, confirming warrior? It seemed to be nonsense. Just as Gu Hao finished speaking, an extremely terrifying aura suddenly erupted from his body, causing everyone's expression to change. They could clearly feel just how terrifying the aura on Gu Hao's body was. It turned out that Gu Hao had already advanced a half a step into the Dao validation. Evil Moon's expression changed again and again. He never thought that Gu Hao had always been pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. The Gu Hao beside him was actually a half-step Dao, confirming warrior. Chapter 3305. How could he not be shocked? Of course, Evil Moon knew what it meant to be half a step into the Dao, confirming martial artist. Originally, he did not place Gu Hao in his eyes, but the situation had completely reversed. A martial artist half a step into the Dao, confirming martial artist strength was completely above his own. If he were to fight head-on, Evil Moon knew that his chances of winning were not high. He didn't even have a 30% chance. What kind of concept was this? So, what if you're half a step into the Dao, confirming realm? Longao did not have a good concept, because in his opinion, the so-called half a step into the Dao confirming martial artist was similar to Evil Moon. Even if he could not contend against a martial artist half a step into the Dao confirming realm in his current situation, could it be that he would not be able to contend against a martial artist half a step into the Dao confirming realm when his cultivation recovered to the primal chaos realm? Longao was very confident in his own situation. Longao, go against me? Before Gu Hao could finish speaking, he saw the burning heart flame lotus in Longao's hand. Gu Hao was extremely fearful of this kind of strange fire. So it turned out back then, when Gu Hao ambushed Xianyuan Bubi, although Xianyuan Bubi was already powerless to reverse the situation, at the final critical moment, he directly used the burning heart flame lotus to heavily injure Gu Hao. It was precisely because of this. Gu Hao still had the burning heart flame lotus's fire seed in his body. If the burning heart flame lotus were to deal with him, he would know what it meant. Longao, do you really think that the burning heart flame lotus can deal with me? If it was the Longao at his peak, with the help of the burning heart flame lotus, he would be able to pose a threat to him. But now, with Longao's strength, he would not be able to cause any harm to him. How could Longao not know what Gu Hao meant? Is that so? Longao began to activate the burning heart flame lotus. The current burning heart flame lotus was no longer the same as before, but Longao was very clear in his heart that with his current situation, dealing with Gu Hao was truly an impossible task. Just when everyone thought that Longao was preparing to deal with Gu Hao, in the next second, Longao had already disappeared without a trace. Inside the primal chaos Dantian, Longao roughly explained the matter of Gu Hao becoming half a step into the martial warriors. Xianyuan Bubi was much calmer than he had imagined. He coldly said, Gu Hao's talent is already at the top of his peers. The him back then was the one with the greatest hope of proving his Dao. If Gu Hao was not anxious and wanted to replace him, he believed that the current Gu Hao, with the help of Xianyuan Bubi, would have already successfully verified his Dao. However, so what if he regretted it? The current Gu Hao only wanted to obtain Xianyuan Bubi's Dao confirming seed and primordial spirit, including the burning heart fire lotus. Master, it seems a little unrealistic to want to deal with Gu Hao now. Xianyuan Bubi nodded. Aoer, I never planned for you to deal with him right now. Gu Hao is not as simple as you imagined. Not to mention the current you. Even if you wait until you recover your primal chaos reincarnation realm, it will still be very difficult to kill Gu Hao. He was very shocked. However, after thinking about it, he felt relieved. Since his master had already said so, then Gu Hao was definitely not as simple as he had imagined. Although his master did not say it clearly, Longao could tell that if he wanted to kill Gu Hao, he had to break through half a step into the Dao confirmation realm before Gu Hao could truly prove his Dao. Only then would he be able to kill him. It was simple to think about, but it was extremely difficult to actually do it. Back then, even with his extraordinary talent and the 9 revolution primal chaos mantra that he created, he still did not succeed in breaking through half a step into the Dao confirmation realm. From this, One could imagine how difficult it was to break through half a step into the Tao confirmation realm. It was as if he could guess what Longao was thinking. Xinyuan Bubi said, Aoer, with your talent, once you recover to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, with the help of me and the evil ancestor, I believe that in less than 1,000 years, your cultivation will be able to break through half a step into the Tao confirmation realm. He nodded. At this time, the evil ancestor seemed to have thought of something and said helplessly, in another 5,000 years, the primal chaos realm will change. Not to mention ordinary primal chaos martial artists. Even Tao confirmation martial artists might fall. Longao listened quietly, but did not say anything. Longao, you don't have any concept of the primal chaos cycle, but it's best if you can smoothly prove your Tao within 5,000 years. That way, you might have a chance. I understand. Once one's cultivation broke through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, one would be able to clearly sense the primal chaos cycle after 5,000 years. Just as the evil ancestor had said, this primal chaos cycle was not only related to their life and death, but also related to the life and death of the Tao confirmation martial artists. In front of the primal chaos cycle, no matter who it was, they did not have complete confidence. Outside, Guhao was not worried at all. Although losing the primal chaos golden needle was heartbreaking, with his current strength, as long as he did not meet a true Tao confirmation martial artist, he would be able to move unhindered in the primal chaos realm. After all, in the entire primal chaos realm, there were only a few people who could break through half a step into the Tao confirmation realm. Ever since they knew of Gu Hao's true strength, whether it was Mo Wutian or Evil Moon, their attitude towards Gu Hao had undergone a subtle change. A martial artist who was half a step into the Tao confirmation realm. Among the crowd, the strongest was no longer Evil Moon, but Gu Hao. Brother Gu, you really hid your strength well. If it wasn't for Longao provoking you this time, I'm afraid you wouldn't be willing to reveal your strength. Evil Moon was somewhat bitter. Countless years ago, his cultivation had already reached the peak of the primal chaos reincarnation realm. However, even now he was still unable to advance to the half-step Tao confirmation realm. Now that he was facing a true half-step Tao confirmation martial artist, Evil Moon became more and more disappointed. It was truly infuriating, because Gu Hao had already successfully broken through to the half-step Tao confirmation realm. This way, as long as Gu Hao did not fall, he would be able to truly succeed in the Tao confirmation realm in the future. It was only a matter of time. Evil Moon, I don't want to talk too much nonsense. As I said before, as long as we can kill Longao, the evil ancestor's Tao confirmation seed and primordial spirit will belong to you. And I only need Xinyuan Bubi's Tao confirmation seed and primordial spirit. Without waiting for Evil Moon to speak, Gu Hao continued. However, the burning heart flame lotus in Longao's hands, as well as the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, including the 9 great Chaos Divine Beasts, will all belong to me. Sure enough, the one who was most unwilling to hear about this was Mo Wutian, because once Gu Hao gathered the 9 great Chaos Divine Beasts, there was no doubt that he would turn around and deal with him. To be more precise, he would deal with the Candle Een Divine Beast by his side. If it was an ordinary primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist, even if it was an existence like Evil Moon, he would still dare to fight. However, facing a martial artist who was half a step into the Tao confirmation realm, he did not have any way to deal with him. Not to mention him, even Evil Moon would not be able to contend against Gu Hao. This was Gu Hao's strength, the strength of a martial artist who was half a step into the Tao confirmation realm. Chapter 3306. If it was before, Evil Moon would definitely not agree. Only now, Evil Moon did not dare. Half a step into the Tao validation. No matter what, Gu Hao's strength was there. After knowing that Gu Hao was half a step into the Tao validation, Longao did not continue to attack. Be patient. Right now, the most important thing was to find a way to collect the remaining 2 treasures, the Netherworld Water and the Samsara Fruit. Only then would his cultivation be able to successfully break through the primal chaos Samsara realm. Without entering the samsara realm, it was impossible to truly contend against more than 3 primal chaos samsara realm martial artists. It was just that in this situation, whether it was the samsara fruit or the netherworld water, he still had no clue. He was helpless. Gu Hao, Evil Moon, and the others were obviously unwilling to give up just like that. With Longao's own talent and strength, as well as the help of 2 primordial spirit realm experts, once he was given enough time to develop, it was obvious what it meant. He absolutely could not raise a tiger. Especially Xinyuan Bubi and the evil ancestors' Dao validation seed and primordial spirit were simply too important to them. No matter what price they had to pay, they had to obtain the primordial spirit and the primordial spirit. Longao and Qin Shuang continued to comprehend the god-slaying finger. Qin Shuang still had not comprehended it. After all, not everyone was as heaven-defying as Longao, able to successfully comprehend the god-slaying finger in just a day's time. However, Longao was also very clear that he had only just started and was still quite a distance away from the true peak of the god-slaying finger. If he could completely comprehend the god-slaying finger and reach its peak state, then he would have a chance to kill 3 primal chaos samsara realm martial artists at the same time. This was the power of the god-slaying finger. It was extremely terrifying. "Boss, I have something to tell you." "Speak." Longao was very curious. He didn't know what Little Black was going to say to him. Little Black thought for a moment, then said, "Boss, now that Evil Moon and the others have joined forces, it's not realistic for us to defeat them one by one." Nodding. Although he didn't know what Little Black was going to say, he knew that what Little Black said was true. With his current strength, if he fought alone, he could kill Mo Wutian and the others. As for whether he could contend against Evil Moon, no one knew. Without a fight, it was still unknown whether he would win or lose. However, it was impossible for him to contend against Gu Hao. Half-step Dao validation martial artists had already begun to come into contact with Dao validation. Longao could almost be sure that Evil Moon was definitely not Gu Hao's match in the battle between him and Gu Hao. This was without a doubt. "Boss, why don't we figure out a way to subdue Judas? Then, with the combined power of the 10 of us and the help of the Chaos Beast diagram, we should be able to kill Evil Moon." So that was the case. Longao already knew what Little Black meant. It would be a lie if he said that he didn't want to tame the Zhu-In mythical beast immediately. After all, he had already gathered 9 out of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. He was only missing the Zhuin Divine Beast. If he could tame the Zhuin Divine Beast, he would be able to open the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Not only that, Longao was almost certain that once the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were gathered and the Chaos Divine Beast diagram was opened, then the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts would very likely succeed in proving their Dao and become Dao-confirming Divine Beasts. Previously, Longao had already asked Xinyuan Bubi and the Evil Ancestor. According to the 2 Dao-confirming martial artists, there were indeed Dao-confirming Divine Beasts in the Primal Chaos realm. However, Dao-confirming Divine Beasts were the strongest existences in the Primal Chaos realm. Even if there were, no one would be able to meet them. It was hard to imagine. If all 10 Chaos Divine Beasts succeeded in proving their Dao and became Dao-confirming Divine Beasts, then even if he met a Dao-confirming martial artist, he would still be able to run amok. It was not an easy task to forcefully subdue the Zhuin Divine Beast among the many Primal Chaos reincarnation warriors. Especially now, Gu Hao is actually still half a step into the Dao-proving realm. So things would become more and more troublesome. "Little Black, you have a way." Longao understood Little Black's personality very well. If he wasn't completely confident, Little Black would definitely not casually open it. In other words, Little Black definitely had a way to deal with the Zhuin Divine Beast. If that was really the case, then it would undoubtedly be great news for him. "Boss, after our discussion, we have indeed thought of a way to deal with the Zhuin." Just as expected. Hearing Little Black's words, Longao's heart leapt with joy. He couldn't wait to ask, "What is it?" The importance of the Zhuin Divine Beast to him was obvious. Longao had originally planned to wait until his cultivation returned to the Primal Chaos realm. then deal with Wutian Mo and subdue the Zhuin divine beast. But now, if Little Black had a way to deal with the Zhuin divine beast, then he couldn't wait any longer. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. It would be best if he could subdue the Zhuin as quickly as possible. Then gather the power of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and open the diagram of the Primal Chaos Divine Beasts. Boss, if you can lure Gu Hao and the others away, then the 9 of us will have a way to deal with the Zhuin. Are you sure? Longao wanted to subdue the Zhuin Divine Beast, but if he asked Little Black and the others to take the risk, he wouldn't agree. To him, the Zhuin Divine Beast wasn't as important as Little Black and the others. Little Black shook his head helplessly. We only have a 50% chance. After all, the Zhuin is also a primal chaos divine beast. And for some reason, the Zhuin divine beast has returned to the primal chaos realm. As expected, Longao guessed that Little Black and the others weren't completely confident. He smiled and shook his head. Little Black, you should know my personality. If I'm not completely confident, then I won't let you take action. But you're right. We need to subdue the Zhuin as soon as possible. Little Black was curious and didn't know what his boss meant. After thinking for a moment, Longao smiled. As long as we can separate the Zhuin divine beast from the others, then I have full confidence in my ability to subdue it. Longao knew that even if he hadn't broken through to the primal chaos realm, it wouldn't be difficult for him to subdue the Zhuin divine beast in a one-on-one fight. But the biggest problem right now was how to separate the Zhuin divine beast from the others. If they didn't do so, then it was impossible. Xiao He shrugged helplessly. He had already guessed that Boss would definitely not agree to their request. He knew Boss's personality too well. Not to mention a 50% chance. Even if there was a 90% chance, he believed that Boss would not agree. Boss, what should we do now? Little Black really wanted to help his boss. Chapter 3307. It was just as Longao had guessed. After witnessing Longao's power, Wu Tian and the others didn't dare act alone. Who knew if Longao would deal with them alone? The slightest mistake could lead to unimaginable consequences. They wouldn't even have a chance to regret it. Boss, what's wrong? Wu Tian's expression was ugly. He shrugged helplessly and said, Zhuin, you should know what the current situation means to you and me. It doesn't matter if it's Gu Hao or Evil Moon. So long as they kill Longao, they'll take the Chaos Beast diagram and 9 Chaos Beasts from Longao's hands. That way, they'll deal with you. How could Judas not know what his boss was talking about? But what could he do? Even if they worked together, they wouldn't be a match for Gu Hao or Evil Moon. There was no question about it. Boss, what should we do now? Zhuin, there are actually 2 paths in front of us. Why don't we choose to retreat and find a place where no one can find us? I believe that even if it's Gu Hao and Xinyuan Bubi, it won't be easy for them to find us. Judas shook his head. He knew his boss's personality all too well. If he really wanted to go into hiding, he wouldn't have told him so much. Wu Tian smiled knowingly. The other option is for us to take the risk and stay here. When they kill Longao, we'll find a chance to strike. Wu Tian's meaning was simple. He wasn't willing to leave just like that. Whether it was the Chaos Beast diagram, the Tao Proving Seed, or the Primordial Spirit, he only needed one. Especially the Primordial Spirit and the Tao Proving Seed. If he could get them, he'd have a good chance of proving his Tao. He knew full well what it meant to prove one's Tao. Wu Tian knew that once he got his hands on the Tao Proving Seed or Primordial Spirit, he'd be able to stand above even Gu Hao and Evil Moon. Tao Proving cultivators were at the pinnacle of martial arts. Boss, I'll always be with you. Just then, Gu Hao walked over and smiled. Wu Tian and Mo, there's something I need to talk to you about. Looking at Gu Hao, who had a fake smile on his face, for some reason, Mo Wu Tian felt that something was wrong. Could it be that Gu Hao couldn't wait any longer and wanted to deal with him and Judas? According to Mo Wu Tian's guess, even if Evil Moon or Gu Hao wanted to deal with Judas, they should have done so after killing Longao. This was also what he had left behind. But now, forcefully suppressing the uneasiness in his heart, Mo Tian forced a smile and said, I wonder why Brother Gu is looking for me? As long as it's something I can do, I will definitely do it. Everyone had their own agenda. However, Gu Hao did not beat around the bush in the slightest, because in his opinion, in front of powerful strength, all tricks were unnecessary. A half-step Dao Vindication martial artist was not someone Mo Wutian could contend against. Not to mention Wutian Mo. Even if he teamed up with Judas, they still wouldn't be his match. Gu Hao was confident in his own strength. As for Evil Moon and the others, Gu Hao knew that if Evil Moon wanted to obtain the Dao Vindication Seed and Primordial Spirit, she wouldn't help Mo Wutian. As for the others, they wouldn't dare deal with him. Mo Wutian, I believe you know that Longao has a Chaos Relic in his possession. It's called the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram. He nodded. Of course, Mo Wutian knew what Gu Hao wanted to say. He was furious, but under these circumstances, he didn't dare say anything. If Gu Hao made a move, he wouldn't be able to resist. According to the rumors, as long as you obtain the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram and gather the 10 Chaos Mythological Beasts, you can unlock its true power. Gu Hao did not know much about the Primal Chaos Beast Diagram, but he really wanted to give it a try. Once he obtained the Primal Chaos Beast Diagram and gathered the 10 Great Primal Chaos Beasts, after he confirmed his Dao, would he be able to help him kill the other martial warriors? In any case, once he obtained the diagram and gathered the 10 Chaos Mythological Beasts, he would be invincible in the same realm. There was no doubt about that. Under Dao Vindication, he couldn't be truly invincible. After all, he wasn't the only half-step Dao Vindication martial artist in the Chaos realm. Originally, he planned to kill Longao, wait for the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram and the other 9 Chaos Mythological Beasts, then return to deal with Judas and Mo Wutian. But thinking about it, Gu Hao felt that something wasn't right. If Mo Wutian and Judas ran away, it wouldn't be easy to find them in the vast Chaos realm. To be safe, Gu Hao planned to deal with Judas and Mo Wutian first. He would subdue Judas first, and after killing Longao, he would be able to obtain the remaining 9 Chaos Mythological Beasts and the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram. Until now, Gu Hao admired Longao's luck. Throughout the entire Chaos realm, Longao was the first person to be able to gather the 9 Chaos Mythological Beasts and obtain the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram. But this way, he would be able to benefit himself. Mo Wutian, I believe you have already guessed my intentions. I want Judas to follow me in the future. As for you, you can also follow me. When I reach Dao Vindication, I will do my best to help you. How about it? Gu Hao didn't need Mo Wutian and Judas' help. As long as he could think of a way to deal with the Chaos Palace, then he wouldn't put a small Longao in his eyes. But under these circumstances, Gu Hao wasn't willing to make a move. If something unexpected happened and Longao ran away, then his strength would be exposed. Longao would probably go into hiding. Because of this, Gu Hao chose to be on the safe side. In the end, he chose to surrender instead of force. Brother Gu, Judas and I are as close as brothers. Waving his hand, Gu Hao didn't give Mo Wutian a chance to continue. Gu Hao seemed to be very impatient, but after thinking about it, he felt relieved. As a half-step Dao Vindication martial artist, if not for the special circumstances, how could he waste words with Mo Wutian? Mo Wutian, I can promise you that once you kill Longao, I will give you the evil ancestor's soul. How about it? The evil ancestor's soul? It would be a lie to say that he wasn't tempted. After all, the evil ancestor was a Dao Vindication martial artist. Although the soul couldn't compare to a Dao Vindication seed, and the chances of Dao Vindication were higher, if he could devour the evil ancestor's soul, it would be of great benefit to his own Dao Vindication. Gu Hao didn't continue speaking. Instead, he stared at Mo Wutian. Although he didn't want to make a move, if Mo Wutian insisted on not agreeing, he didn't mind killing him and using force to subdue Judas. Chapter 3308. Wutian didn't seem to care, but his heart was in turmoil. If he persisted, he wouldn't be able to leave Reincarnation Valley alive, much less obtain the Chaos Seed or Spirit. Did he really have to give up on Juin? Like a brother? Bullshit. As long as Wu Tian was given a chance to prove his Tao, it was hard to say whether or not he would give up on Juin. Mo Wu Tian was just not sure if Gu Hao would really give him the evil ancestor's primordial spirit when he killed Longao. What if he didn't? Even if Gu Hao and Dark Moon didn't give it to him, there was nothing he could do. He seemed to be able to guess what Wu Tian was thinking. At this moment, Dark Moon approached from a short distance away. Dark Moon, can we give the spirit to Wu Tian? How could Dark Moon not know what Gu Hao was thinking? If it were before, he wouldn't have agreed. He would have even attacked Gu Hao and killed him. But now the situation was different. Gu Hao was half a step away from proving his Tao, and his strength was far above his own. Ever since he'd revealed his strength, Gu Hao had gone from calling him Senior Dark Moon to calling him by name. This was the benefit of strength. Whoever was stronger had the right to speak. Even if he didn't want to, under these circumstances, Dark Moon didn't want to provoke Gu Hao. Fortunately, Gu Hao only wanted the spirit, not the seed. Dark Moon had already thought it through. If he wanted the seed, he wouldn't hesitate even if he had to shed all pretense of cordiality with Gu Hao. No problem. Hearing the evil ancestor agree, Mo Wu Tian finally made up his mind. Juin was in the chaos of reincarnation, but in the face of death and the spirit of the evil progenitor, he chose to protect himself and take the spirit. When Wu Tian turned around, Juin already knew what his boss meant. His face was full of disbelief. Although he had been subdued by Mo Wu Tian back then, he had always treated Mo Wu Tian as his big brother and had never abandoned him. Juin never thought his boss would one day abandon him. Was this true? Juin didn't want to believe it, but the truth was right in front of him. Boss! Juin, we've been together for so many years. I won't harm you. Judas wanted to say something more, but he swallowed the words back down his throat. No matter what the reason was, boss had chosen to give up on him. It was really a sad thing to meet such a boss. But Judas knew what was going on. In a one-on-one fight, he couldn't beat any of them, let alone the fact that there was a half-step Tao validation martial artist in front of him. This time, it boded ill rather than well. After you follow Senior Gu Hao, you will not fall. Instead, you will help Senior Gu Hao open the primal chaos divine beast diagram. He didn't want to listen any longer. Judas suddenly burst into laughter. His laughter was filled with mockery and disdain. He'd seen shameless people before, but never this shameless. For so many years, he had been loyal and devoted to Mo Wu Tian. It could be said that the reason Mo Wu Tian was able to establish the Devil Palace and survive until now was all thanks to him. But now, killing the donkey after it had outlived its usefulness. Wu Tian had faced death and the temptation of the vile progenitor's primordial spirit, and yet he had chosen to abandon Judas. If Judas hadn't experienced it himself, he wouldn't have believed it. Judas had already decided that as long as his boss didn't abandon him, what did it matter if he died? Wu Tianmo, you really are shameless. You betrayed me first, and now you're making it sound so righteous. Judas, you've gone too far. Wu Tianmo's face darkened. Since he decided to give Judas to Gu Hao, he wouldn't hesitate any longer. If Gu Hao wanted to deal with him, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Sacrificing Judas would not only save his own life, but also give him the vile progenitor's primordial spirit. That way, he'd have a chance to prove his Tao. Juin, you must remember this. Even though you didn't choose to submit back then, the people here are more than enough to kill you. Wu Tianmo regretted his decision. When Judas wanted to submit, he didn't agree. If he had a single thought would be all it would take to get rid of Judas, there would be no need to waste words. But with Gu Hao and the others here, subduing Judas wouldn't be a difficult task. Wu Tianmo wanted to say something more, but Gu Hao waved his hand and smiled. Wu Tianmo, leave the rest to me. Your mission is complete, and I'll do what I promised you. Follow me from now on, and when I prove my Tao, I'll do everything in my power to help you. Thank you. Wu Tianmo didn't say anything more. He walked to the side, his meaning clear. With Gu Hao's help, Judas' fate was clear. But Wu Tianmo knew Gu Hao wouldn't kill him. After all, Gu Hao had subdued Judas because he wanted to gather the 10 chaos beasts and open the mythological beast diagram. Wu Tianmo couldn't bear it. After so many years of love, it would be a lie to say he didn't. But a wise man submits to circumstances, and he understood the situation. If Wu Tianmo truly cared about Judas, he would have backed out a long time ago. At the end of the day, Wu Tianmo wanted to get his hands on the essence spirit or the chaos seed. After all, proving one's Tao was something they could only dream of. Normally, proving one's Tao was almost impossible unless they could get their hands on the seed or essence spirit. The moment he thought about how he was about to get his hands on the essence spirit of the evil ancestor, Wu Tianmo suppressed his displeasure. So, what if Judas was lost? As long as he could prove his Tao, everything else was nothing. Judas didn't look at Wu Tianmo any longer. Since things had come to this, he and Wu Tianmo were done with. Glaring at Gu Hao and the others, he laughed coldly. Gu Hao, if you want to subdue me, I'll make you pay the price. Ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! It wasn't just Gu Hao. Even Nangong Yin and the others were laughing maniacally. A mere chaos beast, even if it was one of the 10 chaos beasts, was a piece of cake for them. To them, the Judas couldn't deal any damage at all, unless they self-destructed their essence spirits. Gu Hao and Xie Yu naturally would not personally take action. Nangong Yin, the divine mathematician, and Mo Wutian were simply hired thugs. The three primal chaos reincarnation warriors joined hands and attacked the candle shade divine beast crazily. They wanted to end the battle quickly, as they did not want to waste any time. Fighting 1 against 3, in just a few minutes, Judas was starting to find it hard to hold on. Wounds were everywhere. Chapter 3309. If this continued, there was only one result, and that was Judas being forced to surrender. However, Judas had already decided to self-detonate at the last moment. He dragged as many of them down with him as he could. Everyone knew what Judas was thinking, but knowing was one thing, and being able to stop it was another. After all, Judas' strength was clear for all to see. It was also because of this that Evil Moon and Gu Hao stood guard and acted personally. Gu Hao didn't care about Judas' life or death. What he cared about were the 10 chaos beasts and the beast diagram. If Judas chose to self-detonate, he wouldn't be able to summon the 10 chaos beasts and open the beast diagram. Let's end this quickly. Gu Hao was already impatient from waiting. Wu Tian and the others didn't dare say a word. Faced with a half-step vindication cultivator, their usual arrogance was nowhere to be found. The three of them increased the intensity of their attacks. Poochie, Poochie, Poochie. Judas was struck repeatedly and forced to retreat. If this continued, the result was obvious. I will make you pay. Judas was preparing to self-detonate, and Evil Moon and Gu Hao were about to intervene. Suddenly, the situation changed. Don't resist. In the next second, the Zhuin divine beast figure instantly disappeared without a trace. The faces of Gu Hao and the rest instantly darkened. They obviously knew what had happened. It had to be Longao's doing. They were so close to taming Judas, but Longao had taken advantage of them. How could they not be angry? But what could they do with anger? Gu Hao suppressed the anger in his heart. His face was gloomy. If it had been just one Judas, losing it wouldn't have been a big deal. After all, with his strength, he didn't think much of a single chaos beast. But things were different now. Longao himself had already obtained the chaos divine beast diagram, and had gathered a total of 9 chaos divine beasts. Once he gathered the last Judas, it was easy to imagine what it would be like. Silence. Exceptionally quiet. No one said anything, because the Zhuin divine beast itself had already been given to Gu Hao, yet it was taken away right under everyone's noses. To Gu Hao, this was simply a great humiliation. Moreover, Longao had gathered 10 chaos divine beasts. Once he activated the chaos divine beast diagram, who knew what kind of power he would unleash? Inside the chaotic Dantian, Longao suppressed the excitement in his heart and said, How do you feel? He had been trying to figure out a way to lure the others away so that he could forcefully tame the mythological beast. He never imagined that Wutian Mo would betray Judas and help him instead. It seemed like he still had to thank Mo Wutian and Gu Hao. If it weren't for Wutian Mo and the others, he wouldn't have been able to send Judas here so easily. Longao, I know what you mean. I only have one request. Help me kill the people outside, and I will submit to you. Now is not the time. However, I believe you should know about the grudge between me and them. Judas knew he was telling the truth. He nodded and said, I believe in your character. Judas knew that if Longao's character was questionable, the other 9 Chaos Divine Beasts wouldn't have been so loyal to Longao. 1 was an accident, 2 could be an accident. Could 3, 4, or all of them be accidents? Boss, now that the 10 of us are gathered together, there is no time to lose. We must activate the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Longao knew what Blackie meant. Even without Blackie's reminder, he was prepared to use the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts to activate the diagram. Longao removed the diagram from his robes and smiled. Judas doesn't know. Judas, I've already refined the diagram. My guess is that once I activate it, the 10 of you will be able to enter it and cultivate. You will have a chance to prove your Tao. Prove Tao? Judas was shocked to hear Longao's words. He knew what it meant to prove his Tao, whether it was a divine beast or a human martial artist. So long as they failed to prove their Tao, it was a dream they could only dream of. It was because of this that Wutian Mo had betrayed him. Gu Hao had betrayed him. It would be a lie to say he didn't want to prove his Tao. Longao, can the Chaos Divine Beast diagram really help us prove our Tao? Longao nodded and smiled. It should be, but how long it will take you to prove your Tao is up to you. In addition to the Chaos Spiritual Beast diagram, Longao had already guessed that if there were no accidents, once the Primal Chaos Refining Tower gathered 23 types of heavenly flames, the 23 types of heavenly flames would also succeed in Tao validation. But he couldn't break the seal just yet. After all, the Conflagration Tower contained a seal left behind by a Tao-proven warrior. If he tried to break it, it would backfire on him. He might even suffer a backlash. Then there's no time to lose. Activate the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Judas knew there was only one way to get revenge and kill Wutian Mo, Gu Hao, and the others, and that was to prove their Tao. For them, proving their Tao was a distant dream. But now there was an opportunity before them. If what Longao said was true, and they could prove their Tao by opening the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, then they'd have a chance to get their revenge. Begin. The 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were the Sky Devouring Divine Beast, Jiao-ing Divine Beast, Zhuyin Divine Beast, Pai Xiao Divine Beast, Chionyo Divine Beast, Swanee Divine Beast, Sky Splitting Divine Beast, Golden Eye Divine Beast, Nine-Headed Dragon Python, and Taotai Divine Beast. The 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos surrounded the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, their faces solemn. According to Longao, if there was even the slightest mistake in activating the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, not only would it be impossible to open it, but it would also be destroyed. So they had to be extra careful. They couldn't afford to make the slightest mistake. Taking a deep breath, the 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos entered the Chaos Divine Beast diagram one after another. In the blink of an eye, the 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos had all disappeared. Longao had already refined the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, so he could enter as well. This is the key to opening the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. The 10 of you, pour your essence blood and primordial spirit into it. Remember, you must maintain a balance. Don't let any imbalance occur. Understand? Understood, the 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos said in unison. Then, the 10 Divine Beasts of Chaos released their essence blood and primordial spirit. But they didn't dare to pour it in immediately. First, they tried to communicate with each other. They had to do it at the same time. There was only one chance to open the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Chapter 33:10. The essence, blood, and primordial spirits of the 10 chaos divine beasts all poured into the vortex. Balance must be maintained. If there was even the slightest mistake, not only would they not be able to open the chaos divine beast diagram, but the gains would not make up for the losses, causing them to fall into eternal damnation. They did not dare to be careless. Step by step, looking at the vortex in front of him, Longao was very nervous. He clenched his fists tightly. He must succeed. He must not fail. Time passed minute by minute. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. At this moment, a strange power suddenly emerged from the vortex. There were a total of 10 different kinds of power, which came from the 10 chaos divine beasts. The essence, blood, and primordial spirits fused directly with the vortex. The 10 powers in the vortex rushed into the 10 chaos divine beasts at the fastest speed. Seeing this, Longao's face was filled with surprise. Looks like my guess was right. The 10 chaos divine beasts opened the chaos divine beast diagram. Under the balance of power, except for Judas, the other 9 chaos divine beasts all broke through the chaos life and death realm and reached the chaos reincarnation realm. Not only Longao, but even Blackie and the other 9 chaos divine beasts were pleasantly surprised. They never thought that their cultivation would have been restored before they had truly opened the chaos divine beast diagram. At this moment, the 10 chaos divine beasts had recovered their peak strength. If they fought alone, Mo Wutian and the others were no match for the 10 chaos divine beasts. Unless it was Evil Moon and Gu Hao. But looking at the chaos realm, how many people could reach half-step Dao validation or infinitely close to it? At this moment, even if Longao's cultivation had not broken through the chaos reincarnation realm, he had Qin Shuang and the 10 chaos divine beasts by his side. Not to mention ordinary chaos reincarnation warriors. Even facing Evil Moon, he would not have any fear. But one had to know. The evil ancestor beside Longao was not inferior to Evil Moon in strength. As for whether he could fight against Gu Hao, it was still unknown. Wait, he stared at the vortex in front of him. Longao knew very well that as long as the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts successfully opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, it was very likely that they would succeed in their Dao validation and become Dao validation Divine Beasts. What kind of concept was that? The 10 great Dao confirming Divine Beasts. Even if they encountered a Dao confirming martial artist of the same level, they could still kill them in an instant. The more he thought about it, the more he looked forward to it. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. The problem now was that no one knew how long it would take for the 10 divine beasts of chaos to successfully attain the Dao. The only thing he could do was wait. He could only wait. The vortex disappeared. Boss, we have successfully activated the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, but you can't use it for the time being. We have to integrate it as soon as possible. Longao nodded. How could he not know what Xiaohe meant? What you need to do now is to fuse as quickly as possible. After that, you need to use the diagram of the Chaos Divine Beasts to prove your Dao. As for dealing with Mo Wutian and the others, leave it to me. Thank you, boss. Of course, the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts were very clear that they might be able to help their boss deal with Mo Wutian and the others, and even Evil Moon. However, it was a little unrealistic to want to deal with Gu Hao. If he wanted to truly help his boss, then he had to quickly fuse with the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. As long as he could successfully prove his Dao, then Gu Hao would no longer be a threat. Time, to the 10 of them, was everything. After entering the diagram of the Chaos Divine Beasts, the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts never came out again. They devoted themselves to fusing with the diagram. Brother Long, it's done? Longao didn't hide anything from Qin Shuang. Aside from Judas, who was a Chaos Divine Beast, after this opening, Xiaohe and the others have all returned to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm. Qin Shuang was overjoyed to hear this. Of course, she knew what it meant for the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts to return to their peak. Brother Long, with Xiaohe and the others' help, it shouldn't be difficult for us to kill Mo Wutian and the others. Longao knew what Shuang meant. He thought for a moment, then said, "They've successfully activated the diagram of the Chaos Divine Beasts, but proving their Tao won't be easy. So I plan to let them do their best to prove their Tao. As for Mo Wutian, I'll deal with him myself." Brother Long, with a wave of his hand, Long Ao smiled. "Shuang Shuang, I know what you mean, but for the sake of the long term, let's do as I say. Once Xiaohe and the others succeed in proving their Tao, then even if a Tao affirmation expert comes, we'll be able to hold them off." Long Ao wasn't too worried about Mo Wutian and the others. After all, he was strong enough to contend with Mo Wutian and the others. With the evil progenitor's help, even Evil Moon wouldn't be a problem. Only a half-step Tao affirmation expert or a true Tao affirmation expert would pose a threat. So in order to deal with the unknown, he needed Xiaohe and the others to prove their Tao as quickly as possible. Qin Shuangshuang knew Long Ao's personality well, so she didn't say much. But no matter what happened, she would stand by his side without hesitation, until death do us part. Aside from having Xiaohe and the others use the diagram of the Chaos Divine Beast to prove their Tao as quickly as possible, he also needed to prove his Tao. Otherwise, when the chaos returned 5,000 years later, it would be difficult to deal with it. It was the same old saying. If he was alone, he wouldn't care about any danger. But he still had his family behind him. No matter what happened, no matter when, he couldn't let his family be in any danger. It would be very difficult to prove one's Tao in 5,000 years. However, according to his master, he could use the 6 treasures to change the chaotic sacred body. Not only could he break through the chaotic reincarnation realm, but it would also be very helpful to prove his Tao in the future. One had to know that among the 6 treasures, there was the Chaos Tree and the Chaos Seed. Just these 2 items alone could greatly increase his chances of achieving Tao. It could even be said to be 100%. The problem now was only a matter of time. Others could wait, but he couldn't. The most important thing now was to think of a way to smoothly break through the chaotic reincarnation realm in the shortest time possible before proving his Tao. If he couldn't even break through the chaotic reincarnation realm, then there was no need to mention the so-called Tao affirmation. It would be complete nonsense. Out of the 6 treasures, only the reincarnation fruit and the netherworld water had yet to be found. In the chaotic realm, the most likely place to have the reincarnation fruit was definitely the reincarnation valley. Other than that, he really didn't know where else in the chaotic realm could have the reincarnation fruit. However, when he entered the reincarnation valley, he didn't see any reincarnation fruit. Even he didn't believe that there was one. Chapter 33:11. Or if you want to know if there are any reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley, I have a way. What way? If there really was a way to know if there were any reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley, it would be a pleasant surprise. The problem now was, he didn't know if there were any reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley. This was the most troublesome part. If he searched for a few years, he would find nothing. At that time, it would all be for nothing. This was what Long Ao didn't want to see the most. If he knew first, then he could deal with it. If there were no reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley, then why should he stay here? It was better to leave as soon as possible and see if there were any reincarnation fruits in other parts of the chaos realm. The reincarnation fruits were too important to him. Xinyuan Booby smiled and said, I can't do it, but the evil ancestor's primordial spirit can cover the entire reincarnation valley. It was just an instant. Long Ao already understood what his master meant. He didn't think of it before. It was just as his master had said. The evil ancestor's primordial spirit was able to contend against Evil Moon. One could imagine how powerful the evil ancestor's primordial spirit was. It wouldn't be difficult for it to cover the reincarnation valley. Evil ancestor, are you confident? The evil ancestor nodded and said with a smile, Don't worry, as long as it covers the reincarnation valley. As long as there are reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley, I will definitely be able to help you lock onto them. Then let's begin immediately. Long Ao knew very well that the fact that he had 2 primordial spirits in his body would probably spread throughout the entire chaos realm. Since that was the case, then why should he continue to hide it? Gu Hao and the others still did not choose to leave. Especially when Longao took away the candle shadow beast, Gu Hao and the others became even more fearful. This was because no one knew what kind of power Longao would have once he opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. It was better to be safe than sorry. If the Chaos Divine Beast diagram could threaten a half-step Dao validation martial artist, then there would be no chance for regret. The only way, that was to eliminate the roots and eliminate all future troubles. However, if he wanted to kill Longao, he had to lock onto the Primal Chaos Palace. If he couldn't deal with the Primal Chaos Palace, then there was no need to talk about dealing with Longao. Brother Gu, we can't go on like this. We have to think of something. He nodded. How could Gu Hao not know what evil moon meant? Gu Hao's expression was extremely sinister, as ugly as it could be. Of course, he knew that the longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. However, given the current situation, it was difficult for him to find a good way to deal with Longao. The Primal Chaos Hall was too heaven-defying. Even he could not lock onto it. What kind of concept was that? In fact, Gu Hao and the others did not know that if it was just the Primal Chaos Palace alone, how could it be so heaven-defying? Even if it could ignore the locking of Mo Wu Tian and the others, it might not be able to block the locking of a martial artist half a step into the Dao validation. The biggest reason the Primal Chaos Palace was so heaven-defying was because Longao's Dantian had fused with the Primal Chaos Palace and formed a chaotic Dantian. Even a half-step Dao validation martialist would find it difficult to lock onto it. It won't be easy to deal with Primal Chaos Palace. At this moment, Gu Hao and Evil Moon's expressions suddenly changed, and the two of them said at the same time, Dao confirming Primordial Spirit. The Primordial Spirit was incomparably powerful. In just a few seconds, it had already spread out in all directions, covering every corner of the Reincarnation Valley. What exactly is Longao doing in the Reincarnation Valley this time? Until now, Gu Hao and the others still did not know why Longao had come this time, and why he wanted to enter the Reincarnation Valley for no reason. Just as the evil ancestor released his primordial spirit, Longao's expression also changed. Evil ancestor, you? Xinyuan Booby waved his hand, as if he knew what Longao was thinking, and said with a smile, Ao, even if the evil ancestor suffers some losses, it will be worth it to him. As long as you wait for the future to prove your Dao, it will be enough to help him prove his Dao. Longao did not say anything. He was very grateful to the evil ancestor in his heart. He originally thought that releasing his primordial spirit to cover the Reincarnation Valley would be a simple matter for the evil ancestor, and there would not be any losses. In the end, the evil ancestor released his primordial spirit to cover the Reincarnation Valley. For the evil ancestor, the loss of his primordial spirit was too great. No wonder in the beginning, neither the evil ancestor nor his master mentioned this matter. It seemed that if he had not been cornered, the evil ancestor would not have done this. Releasing such a huge primordial spirit to lock onto the evil ancestor was too great a loss. As time passed, about 2 hours later, the evil ancestor instantly withdrew his primordial spirit. His face was very pale, and his primordial spirit was extremely weak. However, he smiled and said, At least I didn't lose my primordial spirit for nothing. I've already locked onto the reincarnation fruit. Hearing the evil ancestor's words, Longao's face was also filled with surprise. He said gratefully, Evil ancestor, it's all thanks to you this time. I will remember this favor. After all, the current him had already chosen to submit to Longao, and his life and death were in his hands. As long as Longao said a word, his life and death would be decided in an instant. However, since Longao had said so, the evil ancestor was very clear that Longao did not look down on him in the slightest. Longao, although I have already locked onto the reincarnation fruit, I still want to go out and obtain it. After saying that, the evil ancestor did not continue. But the meaning behind his words was already very clear. Longao was not an idiot, so of course he could understand the meaning behind the other party's words. If not for Gu Hao and the others guarding outside, he would have been able to smoothly obtain the reincarnation fruit. However, as long as he left the primal chaos Dantian, there was no doubt that he would be intercepted by Gu Hao and the others. Just thinking about it made him know what the consequences would be. It was just that in such a stalemate, it was almost impossible for Gu Hao and the others to leave just like that. If a few thousand years were to come, he would be the one to scam. After all, he had to succeed in proving his Tao within 5,000 years. What should I do? At this time, the evil ancestor suddenly said, Longao, with all due respect, since the 10 great chaos divine beasts have already successfully broken through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, then if you want to prove your Tao, it will not be at this time. Why don't we first help you obtain the reincarnation fruit? And as for Gu Hao and the others, we can kill as many as we can. How could Longao not know what the evil ancestor meant? The evil ancestor is right. The most important thing right now is to think of a way to obtain the reincarnation fruit. After this matter is over, we can let Xiao He and the others enter the chaos divine beast diagram and prove our Tao together. Since his master and the evil ancestor had already said so, Longao was not willing to say anything more. He turned around and entered the chaos divine beast diagram. Chapter 33:12. With regards to Longao's decision, Xiao He and the other 10 chaos divine beasts naturally wouldn't have the slightest suggestion. Within the reincarnation valley, Gu Hao and the others were still guarding with all their might, hoping to break through the primal chaos palace as soon as possible and kill Longao. They didn't know what Longao wanted to do in the reincarnation valley, but Gu Hao and the others knew that Longao definitely wouldn't step into this place for no reason. What was the reason? It seemed like Longao wanted to obtain something, since his primordial spirit had covered the entire reincarnation valley. At this moment, Longao appeared and looked coldly at the crowd in front of him. Appear? Looking at Longao in front of them, Gu Hao and the others seemed to be very surprised, but they also had a helpless look on their faces. As long as they could not deal with the primal chaos palace, killing Longao would be a pipe dream. Even the universe space was unable to lock onto the primal chaos palace. Longao, you are just a coward. If you have the ability, then fight us one-on-one. How about it? He completely ignored the divine mathematician. The grudges between him, the divine mathematician, Nangongyin, Mo Wutian, and the others would be settled sooner or later. If not for Gu Hao overseeing things, even Evil Moon wouldn't be afraid. Divine mathematician, you want to fight me one-on-one? Do you dare? Contempt. Not to mention using the power of the 10 great chaos divine beasts. Even if it was himself, it wouldn't be difficult to kill the divine mathematician right now. Looking at Longao, who was looking down on him, the divine mathematician seemed to want to say something, but when the words reached his mouth, he forcefully swallowed them back. If it was before, he definitely wouldn't be afraid of Longao, but now, the situation was a little different. Although Longao's cultivation had yet to break through the primal chaos realm, his own strength was already equivalent to a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist. Longao, do you think you can leave the reincarnation valley alive? Gu Hao, do you think you're qualified? Longao was simply too lazy to speak any more nonsense. He turned around and left, his speed flying. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared without a trace. Gu Hao and the others were all dumbfounded. They did not know what Longao was doing. However, everyone had already guessed that Longao had entered the reincarnation valley to look for something. He definitely wouldn't give up just like that. Gu Hao and the others, one after another, quickly chased after Longao. Boss, when are we going to attack? Blackie and the others could not wait any longer. Their cultivation had recovered to the chaotic reincarnation realm. If the 10 chaotic divine beasts joined forces, even Evil Moon would not be their match. As for whether or not he could contend against Gu Hao, he had never truly fought before, so it was still unknown. Attack! After being oppressed for so many years, Longao also wanted to have a good time. Shoo, 10 figures appeared one after another. They were none other than the 10 chaotic divine beasts. They were the heaven-devouring god-beast, Jiuing god-beast, Zhuing god-beast, Paishio god-beast, Chionyo god-beast, heaven-splitting god-beast, golden-eye god-beast, nine-headed dragon python, and Taodai god-beast. Gu Hao and the others did not put the 10 chaotic divine beasts in their eyes at all. But in the end, when they exchanged blows, just now, other than Gu Hao, the rest of their faces changed. They were extremely gloomy and as ugly as they could be. Gu Hao, Evil Moon, Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, and the Divine Mathematician. Gu Hao defended against the attacks of the 6 chaotic divine beasts alone, while the remaining 4 chaotic divine beasts fought against the other 4. This way, Longao did not fear any advantage at all. Longao was clear that at the end of the day, he had underestimated a martial artist who was half a step into the Tao validation realm. He had thought that 3 or 4 chaotic divine beasts would be enough to defend against Gu Hao. Retreat. Even if Xiao He and the others were unwilling in their hearts, the truth was right in front of them. As long as Gu Hao was here, it would be difficult to deal with Mo Wutian and the others. Just as Xiao He and the others were about to retreat back to the primal chaos Dantian, a black shadow appeared. It was none other than the evil ancestor's primordial spirit. Longao, let me help you. Longao was very helpless and grateful. He originally did not agree to the evil ancestor coming out, but the evil ancestor insisted on dealing with Gu Hao. Not to mention the fact that the evil ancestor had already lost his primordial spirit. Even the evil ancestor from before would not be able to contend against Gu Hao. However, Longao was very clear about one thing. Since the evil ancestor had made such a decision, he definitely had his own way to deal with Gu Hao. He also wanted to deal with Gu Hao and the others. Although the 10 chaotic divine beasts had all recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, with Gu Hao, a martial artist who was half a step into the Tao validation realm, it was indeed impossible for him to kill Mo Wutian and the others. If the evil ancestor could deal with Gu Hao, then the rest would be much easier. The evil ancestor's primordial spirit directly covered Gu Hao. Not only that, Longao's burning heartfire lotus also appeared, and the person who controlled the burning heartfire lotus was none other than Xianyuan Bubi. Old thing, you've finally appeared. Seeing the appearance of Xianyuan Bubi and the evil ancestor's primordial spirits, Gu Hao did not continue to pester the 6 chaos divine beasts. His target was the 2 Tao-confirming primordial spirits and their Tao-confirming seeds. As for the life and death of Mo Wutian and the others, Gu Hao did not care at all. Even if Mo Wutian and the others all died, it didn't matter to him at all. As long as he could obtain the Tao validation seed and primordial spirit, the chances of him successfully confirming his Tao would be very high. You go deal with them. Although he was worried about the safety of his master and the evil ancestor, things had already come to this. Longao also knew that this matter had to be resolved quickly, and he absolutely could not give up this opportunity. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. No one knew if his master and the evil ancestor would be able to stall Gu Hao. Longao brought the 10 chaos divine beasts and rushed towards Mo Wutian's group of 4 with his fastest speed. If it was just Longao alone, they wouldn't be afraid at all. However, the 10 chaos divine beasts had all recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. What kind of concept was that? Longao and the 10 chaos divine beasts were a total of 11 chaos martial artists. With 4 against 11, it was obvious what the result would be. Evil Moon and the other 3 didn't even think about it as they turned around and left. As the saying goes, a wise man doesn't fight when the odds are against him. If they wanted to kill Longao, there would be plenty of opportunities in the future. However, under such circumstances, how could Longao give up this opportunity? Without giving the 4 any chance to escape, Longao brought the 10 chaos divine beasts and started attacking the 4 of them. The reason why Longao had the confidence to deal with the 4 of them was not only because the 10 chaos divine beasts had all recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, but more importantly, it was because of the chaos divine beast diagram. The 10 Chaos Divine Beasts had joined forces and successfully activated the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. They were prepared to use it to kill Mo Wutian's group and eliminate all future troubles. The Chaos Divine Beast diagram released an endless sea of blood. With the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts controlling the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, its power was incomparable to before. Chapter 33:13. Longao, you're courting death? He snorted coldly. With the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, the first person the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts dealt with was Nangong. Longao was the angriest towards Nangong. If it wasn't for Xuan's good luck, she would have already fallen. This time, Nangong and the Divine Mathematician were people he had to kill. The 10 Chaos Divine Beasts naturally knew what their boss meant, so they immediately trapped Nangong and the Divine Mathematician and attacked with all their strength. It only took a few minutes. It didn't even take more than 10 moves. Whether it was Nangong or the Divine Mathematician, they had already suffered heavy injuries and retreated repeatedly. They were even almost killed several times. They were completely afraid. Nangong and the Divine Mathematician had never imagined that the Chaos Divine Beast diagram would be so powerful. Longao had also used the Chaos Divine Beast diagram before, but it could only contend against one Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artist. It was almost impossible to heavily injure two Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists in such a short time. It was complete nonsense. But now, the truth was in front of them. Even if they didn't want to believe it, they could only accept it. The two were even more clear that the reason why the Chaos Divine Beast diagram had such heaven-defying power was because Longao had gathered the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. Both of them controlled the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, but the difference in power was huge. They weren't on the same level. Both Shiyue and Mo Wutian were scared silly. Even Shiyue believed that he wouldn't be able to withstand such terrifying power. The current Longao was no longer the same as before, unless Gu Hao personally took action. However, the current Gu Hao didn't care about their lives at all. The plan now was to leave the Reincarnation Valley as soon as possible. As for killing Longao, that was a matter for the future. However, it was already impossible to kill Longao in this situation. After all, Longao had already gathered the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Evil Moon was very fast and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Just as Mo Wutian was about to leave, he was stopped by Longao. Longao naturally didn't want to let anyone go, but he knew that it wasn't realistic to stop Evil Moon. He was making a choice. In the end, he chose to leave Mo Wutian and the other two behind, and let Evil Moon leave first. In any case, as long as Evil Moon was not together with Gu Hao, then with the power of the Primal Chaos Divine Beast diagram, it would be enough to kill Evil Moon. You could say that. Evil Moon was no longer a threat to him. Longao, you have Judas. Let's forget about the grudge between us. What do you say? It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Judas was terrified. If they fought one-on-one, he wouldn't fear Longao. Even if he couldn't kill the Longao couldn't kill him. There was no doubt about it. But now, the situation was completely different. Longao had gathered the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. He had seen the power of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram with his own eyes. Even Evil Moon was scared and ran away, let alone him. Forcefully resisting Longao at this time was a completely suicidal approach. At this moment, Mo Wutian no longer wanted to kill Longao or claim a primordial spirit. All he wanted was to get out of Reincarnation Valley. Longao sneered. How could he not know what Wutian was thinking? If not for the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts opening the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, Wutian wouldn't have acted this way. If you cut the grass without removing the roots, it will grow again. Longao didn't want to leave himself any trouble. Whether it was for Judas or his family, he didn't hesitate to act. Without wasting any more time, the god-slaying fingers shot out rapidly. The surrounding space started to tremble and even started to collapse. Even if it was a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist, as long as they were sucked into the collapsing space, they would definitely die. Forget a samsara warrior. Even a half-step vindication warrior wouldn't dare step into the collapse of space. This was the power of the chaos divine beast diagram. It was easy to imagine just how powerful the Godslayer finger was. Only a vindication warrior could ignore the collapse of space. It was for this reason that Wu Tianmo dodged again and again, fearing he would be caught in it. Already scared out of his wits, Wu Tianmo didn't want to fight Longao. All he wanted was to get out of here as quickly as possible. The more this was the case, the more passive Wu Tianmo became. If they were to fight normally, whether or not Longao would be able to kill him was still a question. But now the situation was completely different. The more Longao fought, the braver he became. His Godslayer finger continued to unleash a torrent of terrifying power. The space around him began to crumble. Longao, don't tell me that you really want to make a life and death struggle before you are satisfied? In Wu Tianmo's opinion, as long as Longao wasn't an idiot, there was no way he would take him down with him. No matter what, he was still a samsara warrior. Even if Longao had a vindication martial skill, it wouldn't be easy for him to destroy him unscathed. What makes you think you can do that? Longao did not care about Mo Wu Tian's threat. Not only did he use the god-slaying finger, but he also used his Yuan spirit to attack. A chaotic samsara realm martial artist using his Yuan spirit to attack a chaotic samsara realm martial artist was too crazy. It was almost impossible to succeed. Under normal circumstances, Longao wouldn't have any confidence in succeeding. But now, Wu Tianmo was like a frightened bird. Under the power of his Godslayer finger, Wu Tianmo's primordial spirit would not be able to retaliate. As expected, as the Godslayer finger and primordial spirit attacked, Wu Tianmo screamed. His face paled, and his body began to sway. From beginning to end, Wu Tianmo never imagined that he would one day fall to such a state. If his opponent was a samsara warrior, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But now, Longao hadn't even recovered to his peak. Just by borrowing the power of samsara, he could threaten Wu Tianmo. If he hadn't experienced it himself, Wu Tianmo wouldn't have believed it. The more this happened, the more terrified he became. He didn't want to die, otherwise he wouldn't have betrayed Judas. But under these circumstances, leaving Samsara Valley would be difficult. Longao, I am willing to submit to you. Stop. If he didn't want to die, he had no choice but to submit. In Wu Tianmo's opinion, submitting was better than dying. After breaking through to such a high level of cultivation, he wouldn't be willing to die unless it was absolutely necessary. If it had been any other primal chaos samsara cultivator, even if it had been master godly mathematician or Nangong-yin, he would have been willing to accept it. After all, he knew very well what it meant to be a primal chaos samsara cultivator. However, he could not accept Mo Wu Tian's submission. He knew that if he did, he would be abandoning Judas. Chapter 33:14. Compared to Judas, Mo Wu Tian was nothing. There was no question. Longao wouldn't give up on Judas for the sake of Wu Tianmo. It was impossible. Wu Tianmo had overestimated himself. From Mo Wu Tian's point of view, as long as he chose to submit, Longao would definitely agree to his request without any hesitation. But the result? Longao didn't answer. Instead, he continued his frenzied assault. His attacks were his answer. Wu Tianmo was truly angry. As a chaos samsara warrior, he'd never been so humiliated in his many years in the primordial chaos. He was also very clear that under such circumstances, Longao definitely wanted to kill him. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Wu Tianmo didn't want to die together with his foe. Wu Tianmo was terrified of death. Longao's primordial spirit attacks, combined with the power of the Godslayer finger, suppressed Wu Tianmo. If not for the fact that Longao's cultivation was still stuck in the chaos of samsara, Wu Tianmo wouldn't have been able to withstand more than a few blows. The more he fought, the more frightened and desperate he became. Even now, Wu Tianmo couldn't figure out why Longao was so strong. It was all because of the doctrine of Tao. The way Wu Tianmo saw it, if not for Longao's doctrine of Tao, how could Wu Tianmo possibly be his match? It was utter nonsense. What Mo Wu Tian did not know was that ordinary primal chaos reincarnation realm martialists were unable to cultivate Tao verification martial techniques. The god-slaying finger that Longao had cultivated was the evil ancestor's unique Tao verification martial technique. Longao, I beg of you, spare my life. Wu Tianmo stumbled back, nearly sucked in by the collapse of space. If that happened, he'd be dead for sure. The evils you bring upon yourself are the hardest to bear. You could say that. For Mo Wu Tian to fall to such a state, it was all his own doing. If he hadn't chosen to give up on Judas, Longao wouldn't have had the chance to obtain it. If that had happened, the 10 Chaos Sacred Beasts wouldn't have been able to return to the Chaos Samsara level. This was retribution. However, it was too late for Mo Wu Tian to regret. The spatial power of the god-slaying finger shook the surrounding space continuously. Traces of black space collapsed and swept out in all directions. Even Longao found it difficult to continuously use the god-slaying finger. If this continued, even if he managed to kill Mo Wu Tian, it wouldn't be a good thing for him. He couldn't allow this to happen. At the other side, the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, with the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, launched a series of frenzied attacks. Both Master God Diviner and Nangong Yin were heavily injured. Based on the current situation, the two of them probably wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Gu Hao was currently facing two great primordial spirits, and Evil Moon had disappeared without a trace. As for the life and death of the remaining three, whether it was Gu Hao or Evil Moon, they did not care at all. Mo Wu Tian and the other two were thoroughly depressed. Not long ago, they had been trying to kill Longao, but Longao only dared to hide in the Chaos Palace. In just a few short hours, the situation had completely reversed, and Longao could slaughter them. If they had known earlier, they wouldn't have given up on Judas, Gu Hao, or Evil Moon. Even if one of them attacked, Judas wouldn't have been taken away by Longao. In the end, no one would have thought that Longao would suddenly attack. If they weren't careful, the consequences would be unimaginable. It was precisely because of this that Longao had the chance to obtain Judas, gather the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, and open the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Facing such a terrifying power, Nangong Yin and Master God Diviner were completely stunned. If nothing unexpected happened, they would most likely be doomed this time. As for Gu Hao, including Mo Wu Tian, they didn't count on him at all. In Gu Hao's eyes, there was only primordial spirit and Tao. It was better to rely on oneself than on others. The more the two fought, the more afraid they became. They had to leave as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were given the chance, they wouldn't even have the chance to escape. However, under such circumstances, the two were firmly suppressed by the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and suffered heavy injuries. Their bodies were like kites with their strings cut. They flew out and fell heavily to the ground. Let's go. The two deliberately did this because only then would they have a chance to escape. They turned and left and used the blood mist technique. In a short while, they had disappeared without a trace. Blackie and the others were completely dumbfounded as they watched their figures disappear. They had never imagined that the two would be so shameless as to try to escape. In the end, it was the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts who had been careless. Otherwise, with the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, it would have been impossible for the God Diviner and Nangong Yin to escape. Regarding the matters over here, Longao saw everything clearly. He couldn't split himself, but he didn't say anything. After Blackie and the others were free, they immediately began to help Longao attack Mo Wu Tian. In this moment, Wu Tianmo couldn't stand against Longao alone, much less with the help of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. In a few short minutes, Wu Tianmo was on the brink of collapse. He no longer had any hope of escape. Judas, for the sake of our many years of friendship, I can't thank you enough for letting me go. Shameless. He'd seen shameless people before, but never this shameless. However, Longao and the others didn't say anything. Wu Tianmo's life depended on Judas' whims. If he said he'd kill, then he'd kill. Even if he said he'd let Wu Tianmo go, they wouldn't say a word. How could Judas not know Longao's intentions? He sneered. The moment you gave up on me, our friendship was severed. You're ruthless. I'm ruthless? Judas' face was full of scorn. How dare Wu Tian call him ruthless? He didn't want to argue any further. He turned to face Longao. Longao, you decide Wu Tian's fate. Longao knew what Judas meant. No matter what, Judas and Wu Tian had been friends for many years. Asking Judas to kill Wu Tian with his own hands wasn't something he could bear. Sighing deeply in his heart, Longao waved his hand. His meaning was clear. Xiaohe and the rest had no feelings for Mo Wu Tian. They wanted nothing more than to kill him immediately. Just as Xiaohe and the rest were about to strike, Mo Wu Tian suddenly burst out laughing. His laughter was filled with insanity as he said, Longao, you want to kill me? Just you? Even if I, Mo Wu Tian, were to fall, I'll drag you down with me. Ha 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 ha. He laughed maniacally, and Mo Wu Tian's body began to tremble violently. His primordial spirit released a terrifying aura that scattered in all directions. Chapter 33:15. Primordial Spirit's Self-Detonation. Longao never thought that Mo Wu Tian would choose to self-detonate his primordial spirit. The self-detonation of a primordial spirit cultivator. One could imagine what it meant. Retreat. In the blink of an eye, the 10 great chaos divine beasts, including Longao, all disappeared. Mo Wu Tian's primordial spirit self-detonation was unable to cause any harm to Longao. The battle didn't even last 10 minutes. Gu Hao stared at the 2 great primordial spirits in front of him, feeling pleasantly surprised. Until now, he never thought that other than Xinyuan Bubi, Longao would actually have the evil ancestor's primordial spirit in his body. Now that Mo Wu Tian was dead and Evil Moon had run away, no one would fight with him for the Dao Confirmation Seed and the Dao Confirmation Primordial Spirit. Gu Hao, you traitor back then? He was not willing to continue talking about the past. With a face full of disgust, Gu Hao said impatiently, the winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Xinyuan Bubi, back then, you also had your own reservations. Otherwise, I would have already confirmed my Dao. Humph! Hearing Xinyuan Bubi's heavy snort, Gu Hao didn't care at all. Looking at Longao, who suddenly appeared beside the 2 of them, Gu Hao sneered and said, do you think that Longao has already gathered the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts and activated the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, and can contend against me? With the strength of a half-step Dao Confirmation warrior, Gu Hao was completely confident. However, Xinyuan Bubi sneered and said, Gu Hao, you should know that as long as we are willing, with the power of the burning heart fire lotus, we can still destroy you. If that's the case, you will also vanish into thin air. Xinyuan Bubi sneered and said nonchalantly, as long as I can pull you along, I won't hesitate even if I have to vanish into thin air. Staring at Xinyuan Bubi in front of him, Gu Hao didn't know if what Xinyuan Bubi said was true or false. It was better to be safe than sorry. If Xinyuan Bubi could really do it, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Fight it out? If he won, he could get everything he wanted, even the primordial spirit and the Dao validation seed. At that time, as long as there were no accidents, he could successfully validate his Dao. If he were to lose, he might not even be able to survive, much less obtain those items. Are you scared? Actually, Xinyuan Bubi was not completely confident that he would be able to drag Gu Hao down with him. If there was a 50% chance, Xinyuan Bubi would not hesitate. It was just as he said. Right now, he didn't care about his own life and death at all. As long as he could burn together with Gu Hao, he wouldn't hesitate. It was precisely because he did not have absolute confidence that Xinyuan Bubi was unwilling to act rashly. The more mysterious Xianyuan Bubi was, the more Gu Hao did not dare to act rashly. At this moment, Long Ao sneered and said with a sneer, "Gu Hao, don't think that you are invincible just because you are half a step into the Tao validation martial artist. You think you can do it?" Gu Hao's face was filled with ridicule and disdain. He did not place Long Ao in his eyes at all. Not to mention the current Long Ao. Even if it was the Long Ao at his peak, he would still not care. This was the strength of a half-step into the Tao validation martial artist. Unless a true Tao validation martial artist descended, how many people in the entire Chaos realm would be his match? How could Long Ao not know what Gu Hao was thinking? He sneered and said, "Gu Hao, I believe you have seen it too. The Chaos Beast diagram has already been activated, gathering the power of the 10 great Chaos Beasts, even if it is you." Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha ha. Laughing maniacally, his laughter was filled with endless ridicule and disdain. Gu Hao did not take Long Ao's words to heart at all. In his opinion, if Long Ao could really use the Chaos Beast diagram to deal with him, would Long Ao still be talking nonsense with him? Long Ao, you and I are both smart people. There is no need to play riddles here, and you don't need to scare me. To tell you the truth, your life and death, I do not care at all. I only want Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit and Tao validation seed. As for the evil ancestor's primordial spirit and Tao validation seed, I will give them to you. What do you think? In Gu Hao's opinion, as long as Long Ao obtained the primordial spirit and Tao validation seed, he would be able to successfully validate his Tao. For Tao validation, no one could resist such a temptation, and Long Ao was no exception. As for himself, as long as he could obtain Xianyuan Bubi's Tao validation seed and primordial spirit, as well as the burning heart flame lotus, he would no longer have any worries. Gu Hao was extremely wary of Long Ao's chaos points. If he were to fight head-on, he would definitely not be afraid. However, as long as Long Ao brought 2 primordial spirits into the Chaos Palace, he would not even have the chance to regret it. Trash! Long Ao could not be bothered to say anything more. He was truly unable to kill Gu Hao. Otherwise, he would not have wasted any more words and would have directly attacked. It was precisely because of this that he did not act rashly. He did not want to alert the enemy, and did not want Gu Hao to know his true situation. As long as he could gather 6 treasures and successfully break through from the Chaos Life and Death realm to the Chaos Reincarnation realm. At that time, as long as he joined forces with the 10 Chaos Beasts, he would definitely be able to fight against Gu Hao. Let's go! Without giving Gu Hao any chance to attack, Long Ao brought Xianyuan Bubi and the primordial spirit of the evil ancestor and left. From the beginning to the end, Gu Hao did not make a move. Previously, when Long Ao was dealing with Mo Wutian and the others, Gu Hao had countless opportunities to make a move, but in the end he still endured it. It was still the same thing. He could not be sure if Xianyuan Bubi would be able to take him down with the help of the heart-burning fire lotus. In particular, there was another immortal soul besides Xianyuan Bubi. If it were not for the fact that Xianyuan Bubi was wary, he could imagine what would have happened. Gu Hao coldly looked at Long Ao and the 2 primordial spirits who had disappeared in front of him. He coldly said, "I will let you know that even if you have the Chaos Palace, you will not be able to block my attack." Although he did not obtain the reincarnation fruit within his primal Chaos Dantian, he had successfully killed Mo Wutian and scared away Evil Moon and the other 2. Aoer, you have to find the reincarnation fruit as soon as possible. When your cultivation recovers to the primal Chaos Reincarnation realm, the evil ancestor and I will do our best to help you. At that time, even if you face Gu Hao or any other martial artist who is half a step into the Tao validation, you will still have the strength to fight. Xianyuan Bubi did not finish his words. Even with their help, it was still unknown whether Long Ao could kill a martial artist who was half a step into the Tao validation. However, with Long Ao's strength and situation, even if he could not kill a martial artist who was half a step into the Tao validation, he could at least contend against one. This was without a doubt. Chapter 33:16. Gu Hao's face was gloomy. If he had known earlier, he would have made a move earlier. Mo Wutian had fallen, and the remaining three had all fled. He was the only one left. Wanting to deal with Longao was really not an easy task. Could it be that he had to keep guarding like this? If it was just Longao alone, Gu Hao would not be afraid at all. Even if Longao had already gathered the 10 great chaos divine beasts and activated them, not to mention the current Longao, even if Longao was at his peak, he would not be afraid. The only thing that worried Gu Hao, within Longao's primal chaos palace, there were 2 great primordial spirits. What kind of concept was that? Once the evil ancestor or Xinyuan Bubi lost their minds, then Longao would be able to devour the Dao verification seed. Once Longao succeeded, not to mention himself, even if a true Dao verification warrior came, he might not be a match for Longao. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. What should he do? What Gu Hao was afraid of was also something that the evil ancestor could not figure out. Because according to the evil ancestor's thoughts, as long as Longao devoured the Dao verification seed, then he could completely succeed in his Dao validation. It was completely unnecessary. In the end, the evil ancestor still asked. Xinyuan Bubi smiled helplessly and said, I believe you already know that Aoer has condensed the chaotic sacred body. If he does not change his physique, not to mention successfully confirming his Dao, it is unknown whether he can break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm. So that's how it is. Of course, the evil ancestor knew that Longao had condensed the chaotic sacred body. Throughout the entire primal chaos realm, including the Dao verification warriors, no one had ever been able to condense such a sacred body. As for whether the sacred body could prove the Dao, without a doubt, as a legendary sacred body, if even the chaotic sacred body could not prove the Dao, then it would be a bit too ridiculous. He did not continue to ask. The evil ancestor only knew one thing, and that was that once Longao gathered the 6 treasures, it would definitely bring him endless benefits. Not to mention the others, just among the 6 treasures, the primal chaos tree and the Dao verification seed were the most tempting existences in the world. Longao sat quietly, in his mind, thinking about how to obtain the samsara fruit. Right now, it was not the best time to deal with Gu Hao. The most important thing now was to seize the reincarnation fruit. Gu Hao had been guarding outside the entire time, so it could be said that it was difficult for him to move an inch. Boss, why don't the 10 of us work together to trap Gu Hao, and you go and seize the Samsara Valley? According to the combined power of the 10 of us, we should be able to stall Gu Hao for about 10 minutes. Of course, Longao knew what Blackie meant. The 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts. Once they opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, they could completely stall Gu Hao. Even if Gu Hao was a martial artist half a step into the Dao validation. If there was any other way, Longao would not agree at all. It was just that the current situation was very disadvantageous to him. After all, he did not know if Gu Hao would think of a way to deal with him. He had to seize the Reincarnation Valley as soon as possible, then leave this place and search for the last Netherworld water. Be careful. Blackie and the other 10 Chaos Sacred Beasts were filled with confidence. If this had happened in the past, they wouldn't have been so confident. However, things were different now. Not only had Blackie and the others recovered to the Chaos Reincarnation state, they had even opened up the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. And these were just the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts who had just recovered to the Chaos Reincarnation state. If all 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts were to break through to the Chaos Reincarnation state, it wouldn't be hard for them to kill Gu Hao with the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. This was the terror of the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts and the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. In the next second, 10 figures appeared one after another. The moment they appeared, the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts started attacking Gu Hao crazily without caring about anything else. Gu Hao had no idea what was going on. However, facing the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts and the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, he did not dare to be careless in the slightest. At this moment, Longao's figure appeared at the same time. He took a deep look at the great battle over here. Without any hesitation, he headed towards the southeast direction. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. What was going on? Gu Hao was curious to begin with. Why would Longao come here out of nowhere for no reason? It must be to obtain something. Now that the 10 great chaos divine beasts were obstructing him, it was clear that they wanted to stall him. Gu Hao was no fool. Instantly, he understood what was going on. It was one thing to understand, but it was another to want to chase after them. All of you scram? With just you? Trash. The 10 great chaos divine beasts naturally knew of the urgency of the situation. The longer they could hold on, the more advantageous it would be for their boss. And that was the reason why the 10 great chaos divine beasts were attacking crazily. In that moment, even Gu Hao could not do anything about it. While this crazy battle was going on the other side, Longao followed the aura of the evil ancestor and sprinted all the way. In an extremely hidden cave, he truly found the legendary reincarnation fruits. A total of 12 reincarnation fruits. After being pleasantly surprised, Longao immediately stored all 12 reincarnation fruits into his primal chaos dantian. Suddenly, a strange sound came from all directions. It was getting closer and closer. It was very ear-piercing. Even Longao could not tolerate such a strange sound. The sound could corrode the primordial spirit. Startled, Longao did not dare to be careless and immediately dodged. Bugs the size of soybeans continuously appeared from all directions. The bugs were densely packed, and in an instant, they had already filled the entire cave. With a cold snort, although Longao did not recognize this kind of bug, it was very terrifying. It could actually corrode the primordial spirit, not to mention himself. Even the primordial spirit of a primal chaos reincarnation martial artist could be corroded. This was the terrifying part of this bug. From within his primal chaos dantian, he continuously summoned fire bug puppets, forming a fire bug puppet chi barrier around him. The countless bugs in the surroundings began to attack crazily, but the fire bug puppets were not afraid of death at all. No matter how many came, they would kill. He had to leave this place as soon as possible. Longao did not continue to stay here. With a stride forward, he headed out of the cave. Just as he left, he met Gu Hao, who was rushing over. He was overjoyed and immediately headed towards Gu Hao. Gu Hao and Longao had just met, and in an instant, Longao and the 10 great primal chaos divine beasts that had rushed over, including the fire bug puppets, all disappeared without a trace. Following Longao and the others returned to the primal chaos dantian, all the bugs attacked Gu Hao. The pitiful Gu Hao did not know what was going on from the beginning to the end, but in an instant, Gu Hao had already retreated, and his primordial spirit was even corroded. If not for relying on his powerful protection, if it was a normal primal chaos reincarnation warrior, he would have died long ago. Chapter 33:17. This kind of nameless bug was very terrifying. Even with Gu Hao's strength, it would be difficult for him to contend against these endless bugs. Gu Hao's face became more and more gloomy as he retreated. Humph! He snorted coldly. Even if he had 10,000 unwillingness and anger in his heart, under these circumstances, Gu Hao would definitely not dare to stay any longer. He immediately turned around and left. In a few short minutes, countless bugs had already covered the entire Samsara Valley. They were everywhere, densely packed, and looking at them made one's scalp go numb. These bugs were here to protect the Samsara fruit. If not for the fact that he had the primal chaos dantian, it would not have been easy for Longao to leave the Samsara Valley. However, wealth came from danger. No matter what happened, he had obtained the Samsara fruit. Longao had already thought of how to distribute the 12 Samsara fruit. Master, Evil Ancestor, Chinner, and the others all had one. After all, he only needed one of them. The rest of the Samsara fruit were all given to Xiaohei and the others. Yun Xian and the other two really needed the Samsara fruit. Although they had not been reborn, The realm of their primordial spirit had already been greatly improved. Longao, your luck is really good. The bugs you encountered before were incomparably powerful. According to my guess, the reason why these bugs were unable to surround and attack you and Gu Hao was because the bug queen was missing. At this point, the evil ancestor did not continue speaking, but the meaning behind his words was already very clear. Longao felt the same way, but he did not care at all. After all, there were some things that depended on luck. If not for the fact that he had subdued the evil ancestor and did not obtain the evil ancestor's help, not to mention seizing the samsara fruit, it would be unknown if he could even lock onto the samsara fruit. The samsara fruit is good for all of you. Hurry up and consume it. Whether it was Xinyuan Bubi or the evil ancestor, they both knew what Long Ao meant. Without any hesitation, they immediately consumed the samsara fruit in their hands. Long Ao was also pleasantly surprised. This time, he had successfully obtained the samsara fruit. Of the 6 treasures, he still had not obtained the nether water. Once he obtained the nether water, then without a doubt, his cultivation would be able to smoothly recover to the primal chaos samsara realm with the help of the 6 treasures. He was looking forward to it. Even more, he couldn't wait. No matter what, he only had 5,000 years left. Don't think about Tao validation for now. Breaking through the primal chaos reincarnation realm was more important. It would be even better if he could enter the half-step Tao validation realm. There were no more obstacles. Long Ao successfully left the reincarnation fruit. This time, it was Gu Hao and the others who felt the most depressed. Not only did they not successfully kill Long Ao, they even caused death, injuries, and escape. Even Gu Hao returned without any success. He had really tried to steal a chicken, only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. If he had known earlier, he didn't know if Gu Hao and the others would have regretted it. However, the current evil moon and the others had already regretted it to the extreme. The news of Mo Wu Tian's death and disappearance instantly spread throughout the primal chaos realm. The entire chaotic realm was shaken. Mo Wu Tian's status and strength were clear for all to see. As a dignified chaos reincarnation cultivator, he had been killed by Long Ao. It was obvious what this meant. Not only that, Evil Moon, Nangong Yin, and the divine mathematician all fled. Even Gu Hao, who was half a step into the Tao validation realm, had no way of killing Long Ao. From this, one could imagine how terrifying Long Ao's strength had become. Sanya and Han Wu were the most excited. The two of them were very clear on what Mo Wu Tian's death meant to them. Without the slightest hesitation, whether it was Sanya or Han Wu, they immediately began to attack the Devil Palace. Without a primal chaos reincarnation cultivator guarding the Devil Palace, in a short half a month, it was completely destroyed by the 2 super forces. All the demonic Tao martial artists went into hiding. The demonic palace and the demonic Tao martial artists that had flourished for a time all vanished without a trace. Han Wu and Sanya did not kill them all. After all, there were too many devil Tao martial artists in the entire chaotic realm. It was impossible to kill them all. Furthermore, no one knew what would happen if they were cornered. As for Gu's sect, although Gu Hao did not successfully kill Long Ao, his strength was enough to deter the entire chaotic realm. A half-step into the Tao validation realm cultivator's strength was far above a primal chaos reincarnation cultivator. Even Han Wu and Sanya did not dare to provoke Gu Hao. This was the strength of a half-step into the Tao validation realm cultivator. This was the deterrence of a half-step into the Tao validation realm cultivator. It was precisely because of this. Even if the Devil Palace was completely destroyed, neither the Domain Lord Alliance nor the Pill Hall dared to deal with Gu's sect. As long as Gu Hao did not fall, Gu's sect would dominate the chaotic realm in the future. No one would dare to provoke him. After destroying the Devil Palace, the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall once again dominated the first heavenly region. The 2 super forces were still the same as before, each occupying half of the heavenly region. Gu's sect did not do anything out of line. This was what the 2 of them were truly worried about. With their strength, even if they joined hands, they would not be a match for Gu Hao. Once Gu Hao brought Gu's sect to attack them, they would not be able to resist. However, under such circumstances, they could only take one step at a time. Just when the two of them were at a loss, Longao suddenly found the two of them. At the peak of a mountain, the three of them sat on the ground. Han Wu and Sonya looked at each other. At this time, the two of them asked in unison, "I wonder how Brother Long did it?" Longao naturally knew what the two of them meant. He did not hide it and said with a smile, "Zhuiying is already my brother." The 10 Primal Chaos Divine Beasts have opened the Primal Chaos Divine Beast diagram, and all of them have recovered to the Primal Chaos Reincarnation realm. Unless it is a half step into the Tao Validation realm, like Gu Hao, not to mention an ordinary Primal Chaos Reincarnation cultivator, even Evil Moon would not be able to contend against them. As long as he could find Evil Moon, Longao was confident that with the combined might of Xiao He and the others, it would not be difficult to kill Evil Moon. As for facing Nangong Yin and the others, killing them was something that could be done in a matter of minutes without any suspense. Although the two of them had already guessed it, hearing Longao say it himself, the two of them could not help but be shocked. They were very envious of Longao's luck. Throughout the entire Primal Chaos realm, there was no one else who could have such luck to gather the 10 Primal Chaos Divine Beasts and obtain the Primal Chaos Divine Beast diagram. It could be said that there was no one else in the past. As for whether there would be no one in the future, that was unknown. Brother Long, you want to kill Evil Moon and the others? The two of them had already guessed that with Longao's current strength, since he could kill Evil Moon and the others, they believed that Longao would definitely not let them go. As for Gu Hao, there was nothing he could do. Nodding his head, Longao said with a smile, "That's right, I'm doing my best to find traces of Evil Moon and the others. But before that, I have something to ask the two of you. P.S. I wish everyone a happy National Day in advance. I didn't have time during the Mid-Autumn Festival, so I'll make up for it this time. In the next few days, Little Nine will try his best to explode." Chapter 33:18. What is it? Brother Long, tell us what you need us to do. As long as we can do it, we will not refuse. The two of them were not fools. How could they not guess Longao's thoughts? Since Longao came to find them, how could it be for no reason? If it was before, the two of them could ignore it. But now, the situation was different. Longao's current strength was enough to move unhindered in the Chaos realm. Unless he encountered a half-step Tao validation expert or a true Tao validation expert. Thinking about it, one knew what it meant. The two of you, have you heard of Netherworld water? Dealing with Nangong Yin and the others was not urgent. The urgent thing was to find the so-called Netherworld water as soon as possible. In this case, he could gather 6 treasures and smoothly break through the Chaos Reincarnation realm. Netherworld water? Sonya and Han Wu did not seem to think that Longao would suddenly mention the so-called Netherworld water. But when Longao saw the expression on their faces, he already knew that the two of them very likely knew about the Netherworld water. His heart was suddenly filled with joy. The two of you, the Netherworld water is very important to me. As long as I can obtain the Netherworld water, my cultivation can smoothly break through from the Chaos Life and Death realm to the Chaos Reincarnation realm. The two of them sighed because the two of them suddenly remembered that Longao in front of them was only in the so-called Chaos Life and Death realm. His cultivation had not broken through the Chaos Reincarnation realm. Brother Long, to be honest, we do know about the Netherworld water. Where is it? Sonya thought for a while. His face was very gloomy as he said, Netherworld water, the legendary treasure of the Netherworld. No one has ever seen it. We have only heard of it. Netherworld? Where was this place? Longao had never heard of the so-called Netherworld. But no matter where it was, as long as there was Netherworld water, he must obtain it, whether it was climbing a mountain of blades or going into a sea of fire. The two of you, what kind of place is the Netherworld? The two of them seemed to be unwilling to talk about the Netherworld. After all, the legendary Netherworld was too dangerous. It could be said that it was full of dangers. But since Longao had already asked, The two of them did not hide anything. After hearing this, Longao's face became incomparably solemn. According to the two of them, the primal chaos realm was the most powerful plane in the entire space. There were countless starry skies all around, supporting this space together. And in the crevice of the chaos realm, there was an independent space, the so-called nether realm. Very few people stepped into the nether realm, but once they did, it would be very difficult for them to come out again. As for whether the people who entered were dead or alive, that was unknown. The nether water was the most precious treasure of the nether realm. As for what it was used for, no one knew. Brother Long, the nether realm is filled with danger. Even primal chaos, samsara cultivators don't dare to casually step into it. Let me give you a piece of advice. It's best if you don't rashly step into it. Brother Han is right. You can think of other ways. The two of us will fully support you. Of the 6 treasures mentioned by his master, he had already obtained 5 of them. The only thing left was the netherworld water. If he chose to give up just like that, Longao would definitely not agree. He was determined to obtain the netherworld water. Longao did not care about the nether realm, let alone the so-called dangers. It was still that sentence. As long as he could obtain the netherworld water, even if he encountered danger, he would not hesitate. The two of you have already thought about it. I must step into the nether realm. I wonder if the two of you know where the entrance to the nether realm is? Sangya and Hanwoo looked at each other. You look at me, I look at you. They could see the deep helplessness in each other's eyes. Since Longao was determined to go, they had no other way. Very few people in the Chaos Realm know about the Nether Realm, but the two of us know where the entrance to the Nether Realm is. He was pleasantly surprised. Longao never thought that not only did the two of them know where the Netherworld water was, they even knew the entrance to the Nether Realm. However, Longao also knew that things were not so simple. Why would the two of them know where the entrance to the Nether Realm was? After all, the two of them had just said that very few people knew where the Nether Realm was. As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, Sangya deeply sighed and helplessly said, "Brother Long, to be honest, there were many people who entered the Nether Realm. Among them were my master and Brother Han's master. It's just that even after so many years, the two of them still haven't come out." Sangya did not say whether his two masters were dead or alive. As for the masters of these two people, Longao certainly knew. Han Wu's master was Yin Nantian, and Sangya's master was Ning Zhonghe. Both of them were famous existences in the Chaos Realm. The two of them were half-step Dao, confirming martial artists, but for some unknown reason, the two of them had suddenly disappeared. It turned out that the two of them had entered the Nether Realm. If it weren't for Sangya and Han Wu personally telling him, Longao really wouldn't have known about this. It's not just the two of them. Even Mo Wutian's father, Mo Ying, has also entered. There are also other half-step Dao, confirming martial artists. Could it be that the Nether Realm has a temptation that can make cultivators reach Dao confirming? Half-step Dao confirming martial artists were already the most powerful existences in the Chaos Realm. Longao really couldn't figure out why so many half-step Dao, confirming martial artists, would enter the Nether Realm, unless the Nether Realm had a temptation to reach Dao confirming. It should be. Master didn't mention it at the beginning, but according to Master, opening the Nether Realm is not an easy task. At the very least, one has to be a half-step Dao, confirming martial artist. Even an existence like Evil Moon can't open the entrance to the Nether Realm. Hearing this, Longao's heart suddenly sank. What he was afraid of had come. On his side, including himself, no one was a half-step Dao, confirming martial artist. If that was the case, then wouldn't they be unable to open the Nether Realm? If they couldn't open the Nether Realm, then everything was nonsense. They couldn't even step into the Nether Realm, let alone seize the so-called Nether Water. His expression became more and more dignified. Originally, he thought that since he had already obtained the whereabouts of the Nether Water, no matter how dangerous it was, as long as he had hope, he would not choose to give up. But now, he needed a half-step Dao confirming martial artist to open the Nether Realm. but he couldn't open it at all, let alone obtain the so-called nether water. This was simply nonsense. How could he not be depressed? Brother Long, others can't do it, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. What do you mean? Longao was very curious. Could these two people let him enter the nether realm? If this was the case, Longao was already disappointed. He once again stared at the two people in front of him. Brother Long, you just said that you have gathered the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. So you only need the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Chapter 33:19. Whether or not the Chaos Beast diagram could open the nether realm. Even Sanya and Hanwu were not completely confident. How could Longao not know? He did not continue asking. No matter what, he had to give it a try. Goodbye. Take care. Longao did not stay any longer. He got up and left. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared without a trace. It's really hard to believe that Longao could actually kill Mo Wutian. If Longao can really enter the nether realm this time, once Moing does not die, Longao will be in big trouble. Both of them were very clear. Although Longao could kill Mo Wutian, it did not mean that he could contend against a half-step Dao validation martial artist. Otherwise, he would not be unable to deal with Gu Hao. The chances of Longao entering the nether realm were too high. Once he stepped in and met Moing, one could imagine the consequences. As for whether Moing was alive or dead, the two of them still did not know. Not only Moing, even their master, they did not know if he was alive or dead. Of course, the two of them hoped that their master was not dead. It was just that none of the people who entered the nether realm were able to leave the nether realm alive. Looking at the figure that had already left, whether it was Sanya or Hanwu, both of them sighed deeply. It was mostly helplessness. Neither of them wished for anything to happen to Longao. After all, Longao was their friend. Inside the primal chaos Dantian, after hearing Longao's words, Evil Ancestor and Xinyuan Bubi looked at each other. The two of them shook their heads and said, Aor, we have also heard of the nether realm. However, we do not know the specific situation of this place. We have never entered the nether realm. So that's how it is. Longao was not surprised in the slightest. After all, there was no need for a Dao validation martial artist to step into the nether realm. Longao, if you want to enter the nether realm, we will not object. However, be careful. Evil Ancestor and Xinyuan Bubi were very clear about what the nether water meant to Longao. If Longao was unable to obtain the nether water, it would be difficult for him to return to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Now that he had gathered 5 treasures and was only missing the nether water, even if they tried to stop him, Longao wouldn't give up so easily. Brother Long, are you really going to enter the nether realm? Qin Shuang was extremely worried. She was very clearly aware of what sort of place the netherworld was, and the slightest carelessness would probably cause endless trouble and danger. As for Brother Long's chaotic Dantian, there was nothing he could do, because as long as Brother Long was willing, she would not be able to casually go out. At that time, even if Brother Long was in danger, she would not know, let alone help. Qin Shuang naturally didn't want Brother Long to go to the nether realm. However, Qin Shuang knew Longao's character very well. As long as he had decided on something, he would not change it casually under normal circumstances. How could Longao not know what Shuang meant? She smiled. Shuang, you don't have to worry. Once I encounter danger, I will not hesitate to enter the primal chaos Dantian. Not to mention a half-step Dao validation martial artist. Even a true Dao validation martial artist might not be able to lock onto my primal chaos Dantian. Longao was completely confident that a half-step Dao validation martial artist would definitely not be able to lock onto his own primal chaos Dantian. Otherwise, Gu Hao would not have left just like that. As for whether or not a Dao validation martial artist could do this, Longao did not know. Fortunately, it was impossible for a Dao validation martial artist to exist in the nether realm. After all, A Dao validation martial artist was not a cabbage on the street. As for a half-step Dao validation martial artist, he was not afraid at all. Qin Shuang seemed to want to say something, but Longao continued with a smile. Shuang, believe me, when we enter the nether realm and successfully obtain the nether water, then with the 6 treasures gathered, we will be able to smoothly break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Once his cultivation successfully broke through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, even if he was unable to kill a half-step Dao validation martial artist, it would still be more than enough to kill an expert of Evil Moon's level. It could be said that, as long as his cultivation successfully broke through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, then he would be the #1 person under the half-step Dao validation martial artist. Even if he faced a half-step Dao validation martial artist, he would still have the strength to fight. In the beginning, Longao had never understood why his 9-revolution primal chaos mantra had successfully broken through to the peak of the 7th revolution, but his cultivation was still unable to break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. One had to know that when his 9-revolution primal chaos mantra broke through to the peak of the 7th revolution, his cultivation had already reached the peak of the primal chaos reincarnation realm. He was only 1 step away from successfully confirming his Dao. At that time, he had never thought of stepping into the half-step Dao validation realm. Instead, he had prepared to directly cross the half-step Dao validation realm and enter the Dao validation realm. But now, Longao completely understood. The reason why he had broken through to the peak of the 7th revolution of the 9-revolution primal chaos mantra and his cultivation had remained in the primal chaos life and death realm was because of his primal chaos sacred body. If possible, he would rather not condense the sacred body of primal chaos. It was a complete scam. If not for condensing the sacred body of primal chaos, he believed that the current him would have already recovered to his previous peak state. However, since things had already come to this, he could only search for the nether water. Even though he clearly knew that the nether realm was filled with dangers, he still had to do so. With a deep sigh, Qin Shuang's face was filled with helplessness. She originally wanted to say something, but she forcefully swallowed it back down. Before heading to the nether realm, Longao had locked onto the whereabouts of Nangong and the others. He hoped that he could first kill Nangong, the divine mathematician, and Evil Moon. This way, it could be considered as solving a few problems. As for Gu Hao, when he reached the half-step Dao validation realm, it would be the day he killed Gu Hao. However, after the trip to the Reincarnation Valley, Evil Moon and the other 2 seemed to have evaporated into thin air, disappearing without a trace. Longao was unable to lock onto them at all. Under such circumstances, to lock onto their tracks in the vast primal chaos realm was like looking for a needle in the sea. It was simply impossible. How could Longao not know about this matter? He felt helpless. If nothing unexpected happened, Evil Moon and the other 2 should have already gone into hiding. He had already successfully gathered the 10 primal chaos divine beasts and opened the primal chaos divine beast diagram. Killing the 3 of them was not difficult. In the end, it was Evil Moon, Nangong and the divine mathematician who were afraid. No one was not afraid of death, including the primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators. Primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators were more afraid of death than ordinary people. After all, when one's strength reached their level, not to mention death, they even wanted to be immortal. Very helpless, but there was no other way. With endless unwillingness, Longao left the first heavenly region. According to Tsangya and Han Wu's words, he could rest assured and headed towards the nether realm. Chapter 3320 Netherworld Realm. Very few people knew the true location of the Nether Realm. In fact, very few people knew that there was actually such an independent space in the Chaos Realm. The location of the Nether Realm was in the crevice of the Chaos Realm. What kind of concept was that? Ordinary Chaos martial artists would not be able to step into the crevice. Even primal chaos reincarnation martial artists had to take great risks to enter the crevice. Only half-step Dao validation martial artists could easily step into the crevice. Although Longao was only at the primal chaos life and death realm, he had already comprehended the fourth sacred art, reincarnation transcendence. Reincarnation transcendence could block attacks from all directions. Huff, huff, huff between the cracks. Whistling sounds continuously came from all around. It sounded extremely terrifying. Longao was very clear that if he did not use reincarnation transcendence, he really would not be able to stay in the crevice for a long time. He quickly locked onto the target. Longao didn't want to waste any time. He locked onto the exact location of the nether realm as quickly as possible. If he was alone, it would not be easy for him to lock onto the netherworld. Luckily, with Songya and Han Wu's guidance, Longao quickly locked onto the exact location of the nether realm. The huge black hole was like a tornado, engulfing the surrounding space. "Boss, get out of the way. We will definitely help you open the entrance." Longao nodded. He knew that he was not strong enough to move the entrance to the underworld. He could only rely on Blackie and the other Chaos Divine Beasts to see if they could open the entrance to the underworld with the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. The 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were the Sky-Devouring Divine Beast, Jiuing Divine Beast, Zhuyin Divine Beast, Paishio Divine Beast, Chionyo Divine Beast, Swanee Divine Beast, Sky-Splitting Divine Beast, Golden Eye Divine Beast, Nine-Headed Dragon Python, and Taotai Divine Beast. In front of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, the Chaos Divine Beast diagram began to surge with boundless power of the Blood Sea. They began to attack the entrance in a frenzy. After receiving such a terrifying attack, the black tornado began to slowly stop spinning. He was overjoyed. Just as Songya and Han Wu said, the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts could indeed open the entrance to the netherworld by borrowing the power of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Without hesitation, Longao knew that even if the 10 chaotic holy beasts could force open the entrance, they would not be able to maintain it for long. There was only one chance. He could not give up so easily. Whoosh! Longao's silhouette flashed like lightning and disappeared with a whoosh sound. As Longao disappeared into the black fog tornado, Blackie and the other divine beasts of chaos, including the divine beast map of chaos, disappeared without a trace. A black light flashed. Longao had already stabilized his body. Looking at the unfamiliar space around him, he already knew that if nothing unexpected happened, he had successfully entered the nether realm. The unknown space was filled with danger. Boom! 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 A series of terrifying explosions echoed in the 9 heavens. Longao was very surprised. He never thought that he would encounter such a thing as soon as he stepped into the netherworld. It turned out that, not far away, a powerful chaotic martial artist was attacking a huge dragon in a frenzy. The huge dragon was at least 10,000 feet long. At a glance, it was terrifying. Half-step Dao validation martial artist and half-step Dao validation divine beast. He would be lying if he said that he wasn't shocked. The netherworld. What in the world was this place? Why was he seeing a huge battle between a half-step Dao validation martial artist and a half-step Dao validation divine beast the moment he stepped into the netherworld? If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Longao did not interfere. After all, it was a battle between half-step Dao validation martial artists. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't, and there was no need for him to. The battle between man and beast continued to escalate. It was obvious that both man and beast wanted to kill the other. However, both of them were equally matched in terms of strength. It was almost impossible to determine a winner in a short period of time. Boom! There was a loud explosion. Just then, the man and beast separated. Looking at each other, they could see the deep hatred and killing intent in each other's eyes. Be it half-step Dao validation divine beasts or ordinary chaotic divine beasts, none of them were willing to take on human form. In the eyes of chaotic divine beasts, taking on human form was a shameful thing. Even Blackie and the other chaotic divine beasts did not want to take on human form, let alone this huge dragon. Mo-ing, you'd better scram. You're not qualified to snatch my essence blood. Mo-ing? Hearing this name from the huge dragon's mouth, Longao was startled. Of course, he was not unfamiliar with this name. Mo Wutian's father was Mo-ing, a powerful half-step Dao validation martial artist. When Longao became a chaotic samsara martial artist, Mo-ing was already a half-step Dao validation martial artist. However, he had suddenly disappeared, so Longao had never seen him. Longao never expected that Mo-ing was still alive. It seemed that even a half-step Dao validation martial artist could only enter the nether realm. It was impossible for them to leave. Longao seemed to think of something, and the expression on his face was very interesting. According to his guess, many half-step Dao validation martial artists had entered the nether realm. Since Mo-ing was not dead, then Sangya and Han Wu's masters were also alive. He had just killed Mo Wutian. If Mo-ing were to find out about this, he could imagine the consequences. Mo-ing would definitely not hesitate to deal with him. Fortunately, no one in the nether realm knew about what happened outside. As long as he did not say anything, Mo-ing would not know even if he was beaten to death. Humph, immemorial void dragon. You only need a part of your essence blood. As long as you promise me, then from now on, you and I will be on the same side. How about it? Immemorial void dragon? Longao was startled when he heard Mo-ing mention the immemorial void dragon. Of course, he knew what the immemorial void dragon meant. This was a legendary divine dragon. Its status was very different from the nine-headed dragon python. Back then, the nine-headed dragon python bred the dragon clan, and the immemorial void dragon looked down on it. Longao also did not expect to meet the legendary immemorial void dragon in the nether realm. He wasn't willing to continue staying here. Who knew if the man and the beast would deal with him? After all, with his strength, he was just an ant in front of the man and the beast. He had entered the nether realm this time for the sake of obtaining the nether water. There was no need to provoke the man and the beast. But what was the result? Before entering the nether realm, Longao was full of confidence because he had the primal chaos Dantian. However, he did not expect that it would be so difficult to step into the primal chaos Dantian after entering the nether realm. He could forcefully enter the primal chaos Dantian, but Longao had a feeling that once he forcefully entered the primal chaos Dantian, it would probably collapse. Longao trusted his intuition and was not willing to take any risks. Chapter 33:21. The fusion of the Dantian with the Chaos Palace had yet to mature. Longao was clear that in order for his chaotic Dantian to mature, the 9-revolution chaos formula had to reach the peak. The 9-revolution chaos formula. The peak of the 9-revolution chaos formula, it was easy to think about but difficult to do. The nether realm was not simple. Longao knew that the reason why he had such an intuition was definitely related to the nether realm. There was no doubt about it. He let out a deep sigh. Helplessness was written all over his face. The chaotic Dantian that he relied on the most had already entered. It seemed that he was in big trouble next. Mo-ing, if you succeed in proving your Tao, I might still be afraid of you. But now, the primordial void dragon did not finish his sentence, but the expression on his face had already explained everything. His face was filled with mockery and disdain. He did not take Mo-ing seriously at all. A man and a beast, their strength was almost the same. It could be said that the two of them could not do anything to each other. How could Mo-ing not know the situation? But he needed the primordial void dragon's essence blood. He wanted to try and see if it could help him to prove his Tao. When he first stepped into the nether realm, it was to prove his Tao, but he did not expect that after countless years, no matter what he did, he still could not prove his Tao. How could he not be depressed? As long as he could prove his Tao, no matter what price he had to pay, it would be worth it to him. Primordial Void Dragon, you should know why I need your essence blood. I can promise you that as long as I succeed in proving my Tao, I will do my best to help you prove your Tao. How about that? Bullsh**T. Do you think I will believe you? The primordial void dragon's face was filled with mockery. If he believed Mo-ing, he would be a fool. Get lost. If I see you again, I will tear you apart completely. Mo-ing did not continue to stay. Before he had full confidence, he knew clearly that there was not much point in him staying. Looking at Mo-ing, who turned to leave, the primordial void dragon said coldly, "A small chaotic life and death dares to appear here. Looks like my primordial void dragon's deterrence is useless." Hearing the primordial void dragon's words, Longao's heart skipped a beat. "Senior, I stepped into this place unintentionally. I have no other intentions. As for offending you, it's nothing." The primordial void dragon's face became gloomier, the aura on his body to suppress him. He was startled. Longao did not expect that the immemorial void dragon would attack just like that. He was completely enraged. He tried peaceful means before resorting to force. He did not plan to become enemies with the immemorial void dragon, but he was not afraid of the immemorial void dragon. So what if the primordial void dragon was a half-step Tao verification divine beast? If it were any other chaotic life and death warrior, they would have been scared to death in the face of such a terrifying chaotic divine beast. Except for Longao, he wasn't afraid of anything. Not to mention half-step Tao validation divine beasts, he wasn't even afraid of true Tao validation divine beasts. He snorted coldly. The primal chaos axe appeared in his right hand. Without saying a word, he struck towards the immemorial void dragon. The primal chaos 9 axes struck out continuously, one after another, courting death. The ancient void dragon did not expect that a mere chaotic life and death martial artist would dare to take the initiative to deal with him. The other party thought that he was Mo-ing. Even if Mo-ing was Mo-ing, he wouldn't dare to do this. The ancient void dragon was truly enraged, especially after the fight with Mo-ing. He was even more enraged. Dragon roars resounded continuously, his roar resounding through the 9 heavens. Longao was only one step away from breaking through the chaotic reincarnation realm. Even so, he could still use the primal chaos axe to fight with the ancient void dragon. He wanted to use the chaotic divine beast diagram, but Longao did not dare to casually communicate with his chaotic Dantian, who knew what would happen. Once his chaotic Dantian collapsed, he would not even have the chance to regret. In such a situation, he could only rely on himself. God's slaying finger. The surrounding space began to collapse continuously. Looking at the collapse of the surrounding space, the ancient void dragon looked as if he had seen a ghost and was completely stunned. As everyone knew, only a true Tao verification divine beast could cause space to collapse. As for a half-step Tao verification divine beast, it was impossible to do so. It was a complete fool's dream. If that was the case, how did the other party do it? The ancient void dragon could clearly sense that the other party was not even a half-step Tao verification divine beast, but a chaotic life and death martial artist. He had not even reached the chaotic reincarnation realm. Could it be that the other party was hiding his strength? It was simply nonsense. The ancient void dragon was completely stunned. Longao became braver as the battle went on. However, he also knew that there was a huge difference in strength between him and the ancient void dragon. If the battle went on for a long time, he would definitely not be able to compete with the ancient void dragon. The most important thing now was to leave as soon as possible. The ancient void dragon looked at the figure that was getting further and further away. The reason why he did not chase after him was that he did not want to give Mo-ing a chance to take advantage of him. Who knew if Mo-ing was in the dark? If he suffered a loss and gave Mo-ing a chance to take advantage of him, he would not even have the chance to regret. Secondly, the other party could actually cause space to collapse. This was something that only a Tao verification divine beast could do, but he did not expect that a mere chaotic life and death martial artist could really do it. Just as Longao was rushing away, "Your Excellency, please stop." Seeing Mo-ing suddenly appear in front of him, Longao's heart moved. However, he did not show any expression on his face. He stopped and said with a smile, May I know why brother is stopping me? My name is Mo-ing. Longao. Longao did not know why Mo-ing stopped him. No matter what, Mo-ing did not know that he had killed Mo-Wutian. Could it be that Mo-ing had just seen him fighting the ancient void dragon and breaking the space? Brother Long, you can actually cause space to collapse. I would like to ask, how did you do it? Mo-ing was shocked. He had seen the battle between Mo-ing and the ancient void dragon with his own eyes. That was why he had never thought that a chaotic life and death martial artist could cause space to collapse. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have thought of it. Brother Mo, forgive me for being blunt. The reason why I can cause space to collapse is because of this chaotic divine tool in my hand. Of course, Longao would not tell the truth. If Mo-ing knew that the reason why he could cause space to collapse was because he had cultivated a Dao verification divine tool, he believed that Mo-ing would definitely snatch it away. Even if a half-step Dao verification divine tool obtained a Dao verification divine tool, they would not be able to cultivate it. A heaven-defying Dao verification divine tool like the God-slaying finger could even be cultivated by chaotic life and death martial artists. Once this spread out, one could imagine what it would mean. Staring at the axe in Longao's hand, Mo-ing's mouth revealed a trace of greed. Chapter 33:22. Greed. Longao sneered in his heart. It seemed that Mo-ing was not a good person either. Mo-ing was indeed greedy. A chaotic divine weapon that could cause space to collapse. It was obvious what it meant. Although he was greedy, Mo-ing did not attack immediately. Mo-ing knew that if he did not have the confidence to kill Su-Mo, he would lose everything if he attacked hastily. He had seen Longao fighting the immemorial void dragon with his own eyes. Not only did he not die, he retreated unscathed. Unbelievable. That was right. Mo-ing suppressed the greed in his heart and said with a smile, Brother Long, I have something that I need your help with. What do you think? Brother Mo, please tell me. Longao seemed to have guessed what Mo-ing wanted to say. Brother Long, I want to obtain the immemorial void dragon's essence blood. It's difficult to do it alone. Longao did not say anything and listened quietly. How could he not know what Mo-ing meant? If he could not cause space to collapse, why would Mo-ing look for him? In the end, Mo-ing wanted his help because he could cause space to collapse. Although Longao was unhappy, he did not turn hostile because of Mo-ing's strength. However, he knew that once Mo-ing found out that he had killed his son, he would definitely deal with him. There was no doubt about it. As long as Brother Long can help me obtain the immemorial void dragon's essence blood, I will help you to break through the chaotic reincarnation realm. How about that? In Mo-ing's opinion, his offer was very tempting. As long as Su-Mo was not stupid, he would definitely agree to it without hesitation. However, what happened in the end? Longao purposely looked terrified and said, Brother Mo, forgive me for being blunt. My strength is not enough to fight against the immemorial void dragon. Brother Mo, please find someone else. Rejected. Hearing Su-Mo's rejection, Mo-ing was furious. You have such a powerful sacred weapon. It's not difficult for us to deal with the immemorial void dragon together. Longao did not say anything, but his meaning was clear. State your offer. He had been waiting for these words. Longao didn't hold back at all. No matter what, he had entered the netherworld realm this time for the sake of obtaining the netherworld water. As long as he could obtain the nether water, he would be able to obtain the 6 treasures and break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Brother Devil, I need netherworld water. Netherworld water? Mo-ing was very surprised. He didn't know what Longao meant. Why did he want the netherworld water? Brother Long, what do you need the netherworld water for? Breakthrough? Longao's explanation was very clear. Mo-ing was surprised. He smiled and said, Brother Long, who told you that the netherworld water can help a martial artist break through? Master Xinyuan Bubi. However, Longao didn't say anything. Instead, he said, "It has been hundreds of millions of years since I broke through the chaotic samsara realm. However, I still can't smoothly break through the chaotic samsara realm." Coincidentally, I heard someone say that as long as I consume the nether water, I can smoothly break through. Longao had just finished speaking. Ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! Longao was curious. He didn't know why Mo-ing would laugh out of nowhere. "Brother Long, pardon my bluntness, but you must have been scammed by someone. It's hard to imagine if you're someone from the netherworld." Longao's heart skipped a beat. Mo Ying's words had a deeper meaning. However, he did not reply. The netherworld water can be found everywhere in the netherworld. In the chaos realm, legends say that the netherworld water can help a martial artist break through. However, it's completely impossible. The netherworld water only has a single function. What function? Longao wouldn't doubt the words of his master. Since his master had said that as long as he could obtain the netherworld water, he would be able to break through the chaotic samsara realm smoothly. There was no need for his master to lie to him. As for the words of Mo Ying, Longao did not doubt him in the slightest bit. After all, even he didn't know what was going on. "It can quench my thirst." Holy F *CK. Even though Longao had guessed countless possibilities, he was still completely stumped by this answer. This mother *Cur was way too speechless. To think that it could only quench his thirst. Mo-ing took out a small bottle from his bosom and said, "This is the legendary netherworld water of the chaos realm. I don't know who spread this rumor intentionally. However, ever since I entered the netherworld, I've seen the netherworld water the most." Taking the netherworld water, even though Longao was unwilling to believe it in his heart, the truth was right before his eyes. He had no choice but to believe it. But no matter what, he had already obtained 6 treasures. As long as he gathered them, he should be able to break through to the chaotic samsara realm. "All right, I promise you. However, you've got to give me 3 days. 3 days later, we'll meet here." Mo-ing did not even think about it as he chuckled out, "I believe in Brother Long. Goodbye." Goodbye. Looking at the departing figure, Mo Ying's face instantly turned gloomy. Greed filled his face as he muttered to himself, "A mere chaotic samsara realm cultivator dares to negotiate with me. I'll make you regret it later." Mo-ing was almost certain that the other party must have come from the chaos realm. Otherwise, as someone from the netherworld realm, how could he not know about the netherworld water? This was simply nonsense. However, what he could not understand was how a mere chaotic samsara realm cultivator could enter the netherworld realm. He could not figure it out. However, Mo-ing did not continue speaking because he knew very well that once he killed Longao 3 days later, he would get everything he wanted. In the distance, in a very secluded cave, Longao knew very well that Mo-ing had already placed a chi on his body. However, he did not remove this chi. He had originally planned to help Mo-ing deal with the immemorial void dragon. He felt helpless, but more than that, he was depressed. It was not easy to obtain the netherworld water and successfully gather 6 treasures. Under normal circumstances, he should be able to break through. However, he could not enter the chaotic Danteon at all. In this case, what was the use of obtaining the netherworld water? He had already tried. It was easy to enter, but difficult to leave. It was impossible to leave the netherworld realm. Under such circumstances, he had to enter the chaotic Danteon as soon as possible and break through to the chaotic samsara realm first. The special situation of the netherworld realm made it impossible for him to easily step into the chaotic Danteon. If the chaotic Danteon collapsed, not to mention himself, even his master, evil ancestor, Shuang Shuang, Xiao Qian, and the others would all disappear without exception. In this case, what should he do? After thinking about it, Longao could not think of a good idea. The more he thought about it, the more depressed and anxious he became. Chapter 33:23. He was helpless to the extreme. His expression was solemn. Suddenly, Longao seemed to have thought of something, and his face was filled with surprise. Although he couldn't enter his chaotic dantian and take out the other 5 treasures, he could carefully communicate with his master and let him give out the 5 treasures. As expected, "Master, I have successfully obtained the underworld water." Xinyuan Bubi was also surprised. After hearing Longao's words, he wasn't surprised at all. Xinyuan Bubi smiled and said, "Aoer, the underworld water can only be unlocked in the nether realm. But in the chaos realm, it is an extremely rare item. If you want to break through the chaos reincarnation realm, you can't do without the underworld water." "I see. The rarer something is, the more precious it is. The underworld water might not be much in the nether realm, but in the chaos realm, it was the rarest treasure." Longao didn't continue to think about it. He didn't care about the value of the underworld water as long as it could help him break through the chaos reincarnation realm. "Aoer, I have already discussed with the evil ancestor. You don't need to fuse with the entire chaos tree. You just need a branch." "Master, please make the decision." Actually, Longao had already thought of it, but he didn't say it. The chaos tree was the #1 divine item in the chaos realm. If he were to swallow the entire chaos tree, it would be a pity. If a branch could do it, why would he waste the entire chaos tree? It was completely unnecessary. In the next second, a branch from the chaos tree, a reincarnation fruit, a chaos reincarnation divine beast core, a tricolor flower, and a bottle of underworld water. "Aoer, I originally wanted you to fuse with my chaos seed. That way, not only can you break through the chaos reincarnation realm, you can even prove your Tao easily." How could Longao not know about his master's good intentions? But his master had something that he didn't say. Longao was very curious and didn't know what his master meant. "Aoer, after thinking about it and the evil ancestor's suggestion, I don't want you to fuse with my Tao proving seed. When you break through the chaos reincarnation realm, you can prove your Tao and condense the Tao proving seed. That way, after you break through the Tao proving realm, you can go further." "I see." Longao roughly understood what his master meant. Once they fused with the Tao verification seed, it would be almost impossible for them to go higher and further after their Tao verification. If he were to validate his own Tao and condense a Tao validation seed, it would be a completely different concept. The two could not be compared. "Master, you said that I need to gather 6 treasures to break through to the chaos reincarnation realm because of the chaos saint body." At this point, Longao did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Xinyuan Bubi smiled and said, "You don't need 6 treasures. You only need 5 treasures. As for the vindication seed, I added it on purpose." So that was the case. Longao didn't waste any more words. He immediately began to merge the 5 treasures and consumed them all. Although his master didn't say much about whether he could break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, Longao wasn't sure. After waiting for so many years, he didn't dare to imagine what would happen if he failed. He had to succeed. The moment the 5 treasures entered his body, they began to flow into every part of his body, changing Longao's chaos saint body. The chaos saint body. The legendary saint body. Longao did not know why the chaos saint body would hinder his cultivation. Longao could clearly sense that the moment the 5 treasures entered his body, they turned into a warm current that was fusing with his body type. It wasn't a change at all. Changing the chaos saint body was easier said than done. In fact, it was practically impossible. However, whether or not the 5 treasures could fuse with his body type would depend on whether or not his cultivation state could break through. Boom! 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 Longao was still at the lowest point of the fusing power of the 5 treasures. In the short span of a few minutes, he had fused with his body type completely. Just as Xinyuan Bubi had said, it hadn't even been 2 hours since Longao had consumed the 5 treasures. The 2 powers within his body, life and death, had begun to fuse together to form reincarnation, giving birth to the power of reincarnation. At this moment, Longao's cultivation state had successfully broken through from the chaos life and death state to the chaos reincarnation state. Longao's face was filled with joy. He had not expected that he would be able to break through this quickly after fusing with the 5 treasures. This was something that could be done in a matter of minutes. Taking in a deep breath, even though he could not enter his chaos dantian, Longao could still communicate with his master and tell him about how he had successfully broken through to the chaos reincarnation state. Xinyuan Bubi was elated as well. Aor, even though I've never entered the underworld before, based on what you've said, the underworld shouldn't be a simple place. You've got to be careful at all times. As for the ancient void dragon, if you could obtain his essence blood, that might not be a bad thing for you. Master, I understand what to do. Originally, he had thought that it would take a long time to break through, but unexpectedly, he had successfully broken through in just 2 hours. However, he had made an agreement with Mo Ing for 3 days. It was not the right time to go back now. At this time, Longao had to stabilize his realm first. The current Longao was very confident in his own strength. If he were to face Nangong Yin or the divine mathematician again, he would not need to rely on the power of the 10 chaos divine beasts. Just by relying on himself, he would be able to kill them in an instant. Even if he were to face Evil Moon, he had full confidence that he could kill him. However, Longao was also very clear that with his current strength, he was still unable to contend against a half-step Dao validation martial artist. After all, the strength of a half-step Dao validation martial artist was still there. In this way, Longao's heart was beating like a drum. He did not know if his 9-revolution chaos technique would break through to the half-step Dao validation martial artist or the Dao validation martial artist once he broke through to the 8th revolution. Finally, his cultivation had successfully broken through. Longao was pleasantly surprised. At the same time, he began to stabilize his realm, hoping that he could reach the peak of the chaos reincarnation state as soon as possible. Only then would he have the hope of breaking through to the half-step Dao validation martial artist. The next day, Longao looked at the primal chaos axe in front of him and found that although his primal chaos axe was incomparably powerful, it was still not on the same level as the primal chaos palace, the Qiankuan space, and other chaos divine tools. I must improve the power of the primal chaos axe as soon as possible. Longao was very unwilling to give up on the primal chaos axe. After thinking about it, he still wanted to improve the power of the primal chaos axe. However, it was easy to think about but difficult to actually do. After all, it was not easy to improve the power of a chaos divine tool. Chapter 33:24. Master, do you have a way to increase the power of the axe? After listening to Longao's general idea, Xinyuan Bubi fell silent. Longao did not urge him in the slightest. After all, it was not easy to increase the power of a chaotic divine weapon even for a Dao validation warrior. After a few hours, Aor, I've already observed your axe. Master, how is it? It's very powerful, but as you said, the axe can't keep up with your footsteps. Wait until you become a half-step Dao validation warrior or a Dao validation warrior. He nodded. How could Longao not know what his master meant? He was helpless. It was also because of this that Longao could not wait to increase the power of the axe. I've thought about it. If I want to increase the power of the axe and help you, I have to refine it well. Master, what should I do? You deal with the rest first. As for the axe, I'll think about it. Longao did not continue to dwell on it. He also knew that increasing the power of the axe was not something that could be done overnight. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Looking at Mo Ing in front of him, Longao sneered and said, Brother Mo, what should we do? You should know that I'm just a chaotic samsara warrior. Although I can use the divine weapon in my hand to cause the space to collapse, I believe that I can't help you. Longao did not mention that he had successfully broken through to the chaotic samsara realm, especially in front of Mo Ing. There was no doubt about it. In the future, He and Mo-ing could only be enemies, not friends. There was no doubt about it. Especially when Mo-ing knew that he had killed Mo Wutian, he believed that Mo-ing would not hesitate to deal with him. Brother Long, you just need to create a diversion. Leave the rest to me. Okay. Mo-ing did not expect Longao to agree so quickly. After a short discussion, the two immediately walked forward. 10 minutes later. Mo-ing, you're truly courting death. You want my essence blood? I'll let you know the price you'll have to pay. Looking at Mo-ing, who suddenly appeared in front of him, the primordial void dragon was completely enraged. If it wasn't for the fact that Mo-ing's strength was so difficult to deal with, he would have killed Mo-ing long ago. Mo-ing had provoked him time and time again. It was simply intolerable. If he did not kill this person, he would not be able to vent the hatred in his heart. Ha! Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Mo-ing laughed maniacally, not willing to speak any more nonsense. Mo-ing was very clear about his relationship with the other party. Only one of them could survive. Without any hesitation, he made a move. His attacks were very crazy, wave after wave, as if they could topple mountains and overturn seas. In the blink of an eye, the man and the beast engaged in a fierce battle. Longao, who was not far away, looked on coldly. According to the agreement between him and Mo-ing, he would immediately take action when the opportunity presented itself. As long as he could stall the primordial void dragon, he would leave the rest to Mo-ing. The opportunity had come. Just as the battle between the man and the beast was reaching its climax, Longao darted out like an arrow. His body turned into a bolt of lightning as he appeared swiftly. At the same time, he started attacking wildly as well. Puny human, how dare you sneak an attack on me? I will have you die without a burial ground. Mo-ing had not expected Longao's attacks to be this sharp. Seemed like he had underestimated the other party. The more this was the case, the more he wanted to end this battle quickly. He wanted to kill Longao immediately. That way, all the treasures on Longao would belong to him. If Longao were to break through the chaos reincarnation state in the future, or even half a step to Dao validation state, even Mo-ing himself might not be a match for the other party. He was wary of the other party. Under the combined forces of Longao and Mo-ing, the primordial void dragon roared out continuously. The dragon's roar reverberated through the 9 heavens. One had to admit that the strength of the primordial void dragon was indeed extremely strong. Even in a situation where it was 1 against 2, there were no signs of it being defeated. Instead, it had the upper hand. The more they fought, the more Mo-ing felt. Only now did Mo-ing realize that the primordial void dragon had definitely concealed its strength during the battle. Just as Mo-ing was attacking the primordial void dragon with all his might. At the critical moment, Longao, who was originally attacking the primordial void dragon, suddenly launched a sneak attack on Mo-ing. His attack was extremely vicious. It was obvious that he wanted to kill the other party. He did not expect that Longao would launch a sneak attack on him. After being hit by Longao, he spat out a mouthful of blood and almost died. You're courting death, no matter what the other party meant. Mo-ing was truly enraged. Fortunately, his defensive power was not bad. Moreover, the other party was not as strong as him. It was hard to imagine that if the other party was also a half-step to Dao validation martial artist, he would definitely die under the sneak attack. Even the primordial void dragon did not know what to do, let alone Mo-ing. He did not know why the other party would attack Mo-ing out of nowhere. However, the primordial void dragon could not care less as he continued to attack the both of them. While dodging, Longao chuckled. Mo-ing, seems like you've already guessed that I'm not someone from the netherworld, but from the outside. Since that's the case, I'll tell you then. Not only do I know your son, Mo Wutian, I've even killed him. What can you do to me? Ha! Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Looking at Longao, who was laughing maniacally, Mo-ing was already severely injured to begin with. When he heard that his son was killed by the other party, he nearly fell over. Suppressing the rage in his heart, he roared out, Longao, I MOing. Swear right here and now that I MOing. Swear that if I don't kill you in this lifetime, I MOing. Swear that I'm not human. The moment he finished speaking, MOing turned around and left hurriedly. Before long, he had disappeared without a trace. Looking at the leaving figure, the primordial void dragon's face was filled with curiosity as he asked, "Why did you sneak an attack on MOing?" The primordial void dragon could not figure it out. The two of them were clearly on the same side. Why would this person sneak an attack on MOing out of nowhere? It was a little ridiculous, but it was a real thing. Furthermore, even if the other party was not a so-called chaotic life and death martial artist, but a chaotic reincarnation martial artist facing a half-step Tao validation martial artist, he would not even have time to suck up to him. How dare he sneak an attack on him? You've heard it just now. I've killed his son. Even if we're still on the same side now, once he finds out about this, he'll definitely deal with me in the future. Since that's the case, I might as well do it now. The primordial void dragon laughed coldly. You humans are really shameless. But you've just attacked me. How do you want to settle this score? How do you want to settle it? Longao laughed coldly as well. He was not afraid of the primordial void dragon. He was not afraid in the past, and he was even less afraid now. Even if he could not beat him now, it did not mean that he could not beat him in the future. At most, he would leave immediately and wait till he was a half-step Tao validation martial artist before coming back to deal with the primordial void dragon. P.S. Happy National Day. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.